Well, I think I'm losing my mind this time. This time I'm losing my mind, that's right! The artist is the Beastie Boys. Welcome to episode 10 of Album Armageddon!
Yay! Whoa! Welcome to episode 10 of Album Armageddon. I'm your host, Si Stevens, and joining me as always are my beautiful co-hosts. So like a pimp, he's pimping, it's Rob McCauley.
That's right, bitches.
True feelings are shown by the way that she talks, it's Cath McCauley.
I can't think of anything funny. I feel like I'm on the spot now. All right.
And so what you want, it's Stu Whitehouse.
Whatcha?
How are you all doing?
Oh, good.
Not bad.
Very, very good.
Okay, excellent.
Weather's okay. Well, so the weather's terrible, but hey, we're in England and all that. Or are we?
Well, not all of us.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
So, what is Album Armageddon? Well, we're into double digits now, so if you check out our social media by going to Facebook and X and searching for Album Armageddon, you will get welcomed by our very own community manager, Emma Garrett, and you will find an in-depth overview of who we are and what we do. Now that you've done that, you'll know that Album Armageddon is where we take two albums from a single band or artist, pair the tracks up and discuss and decide on the winner for each track. These winning tracks then form the artist's super album on Spotify. We also have 5 all-important rules, and they are: Rule 1, albums must have the same number of tracks in order for them to be matched up, so on occasion, i.e. like this month, there will be some creative licensing for this to happen. Rule 2 is no live arena, stadium tracks or mixes. Mixes? Remixes even. These are normally found elsewhere on the album in question or on a previous album. Also, no interludes or skits, which is very prevalent for this month's choice. Rule 3, in the event of a voting tie, the host who chose the artist will have the overriding decision. So, Stu, that falls to your broad shoulders this month. Rule 4, an album can only arrive in Armageddon once. The same goes for artists unless a strong and genuine argument can be given for them to feature a second time. Finally, Rule 5, the host who chose the artist, Stu, can use the Napalm Death card, which allows him to declare a track the winner regardless of the voting result. However, this can only be used during the discussion of a track and can only be used once per show. This is a very much a passion and fun podcast. Podcast? No. Stu can edit that bit out.
It's a podcast.
Stu ain't nothing.
It's a podcast more than anything else. Whilst we do go some into the intricacies of the tracks and the key of the song and such like, you'll mainly get our thoughts, feelings and occasional stories around the songs, quite often in jest, mainly because it's not us that are earning multi-million pounds from these songs.
I'd just like to say, mentioning keys, I will only mention a key if it's in D sharp. All other keys
I'll not avoid it.
relevant.
Okay.
Yes.
And why is that key relevant?
Well, because it's the most, it's the saddest of all keys.
It is indeed. As such, we do get passionate and drop the occasional swear word, but don't worry, we all know Stu will get rid of any slip-ups.
I'm waiting. Go on.
I'm not going to do it.
I'm not going to do it. You?
Oh, bless you. Bless your cotton socks.
I mean, you.
Fuck it out.
I mean, we don't want you think
That
we're
was
all
loud.
do we, Stu? I mean, come on. So now that all that's out the way, as our intro said, this month is the Beastie Boys, and the albums are Paul's Boutique versus Check Your Head, which we've mentioned was Stu's choice. So, Stu, why the Beastie Boys, and why those albums?
Well, for one, why not the Beastie Boys? And if all my songs don't get actually selected, actually, technically, all songs should be on the Superplay album. So we might as well just cut it now.
All right, thanks. Bye. Thanks for coming.
So, anyways, bye.
I think you'll find you're in error there, young sir.
Right then, so I'll do my little skit about the Beastie Boys, shall I? Before we get on to everybody's past experiences with the Beastie Boys, and then the meat and potatoes of the podcast. So the Beastie Boys are one of hip-hop's most iconic and influential groups. Formed in New York in 1981, the Beastie Boys blend rock, hip-hop and funk into a unique and some would say, including myself, groundbreaking sound that will influence for many decades and, to be honest, still really does. Comprised of Michael Diamond, Mike D, Adam Halchwitz, Ad Rock, and Adam Yauch, MCA, their first album was released in 1996, was Licensed to Ill, with the classics of Fight for Your Right and No Sleep Till Brooklyn. The album became the first hip hop record to be the top Billboard 200 chart, which we know is not nobody really cares about,
No.
but there you go. Launching the Beastie Boys into international fame. The Beastie Boys' fashion sense, flippant lyrics, and groundbreaking music videos, the group challenged conventions and pushed boundaries, inspiring fans and fellow artists. Throughout their career, the Beastie Boys continued to reinvent themselves, experimenting with new sounds and styles while staying true to who they are. From the jazz-infused rhythms of Check Your Head, which we will be talking about, and the sample brilliance of Paul's Boutique, yet again, we're going to be talking about, and their thoughtful lyrics of ill communication, the group's discography is rich and diverse. Beyond their musical contributions, the Beastie Boys were also outspoken activists for social and political causes, using their platform to champion issues like human rights, environmentalism, that's the word, and fight against racism and bigotry. Sadly, though, in 2012, MCA passed away, but their legacy lives on, inspiring generations of artists and fans to embrace individuality, creativity, and transformative power of music. Indeed.
What was it, 13 years ago? 12, 14, and he raises 12 years ago he passed away. So did they officially just stop at that point?
They couldn't operate. I mean, there's actually a really good cover band in the UK of the Beastie Boys. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, but no, as the Beast, there was a documentary made a few years back, and they were on there, obviously not without MCA, of course. But so they'll still do appearances, but they don't gig. They don't the Beastie Boys and anything like that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And they got various little side projects and things like that. But to be fair, if you ever listen to any of their side projects, they all sound like the Beastie Boys anyway.
Oh, really?
It's quite funny, yeah. It is quite funny. So let's talk about the Beastie Boys. So 2 albums we're going to be talking about this evening are actually 2 of my favourite albums as well. Actually, the Beastie Boys, you could argue License to Ill is probably the weakest album, but it's the album which gave them their platform and made them famous. Okay. It was very the what do we call it? The commercial album, Richie. You know, they were just commercial commodities, and that's how I named them. Yeah. Anyway, the 2 albums which were more important. First one's Paul's Boutique. Paul's Boutique is the second album released in 1989, which I've already said, produced by the Beastie Boys and the Dust Brothers. Pow! Who were the Dust Brothers called before they had to change their name because of legal reasons?
The Proclaimers.
Wrong.
Take that.
Come on, I expect better from you, Simon, and better from you, Robbie. Okay, the Dust Brothers were originally called the Chemical Brothers.
Well, I thought so. Yeah,
and they had to change their names because the Chemical Brothers trademarked their name before these guys did.
Really?
So, yeah. So, apparently. But that's why they had to change it. So, but that's my research. I may be completely wrong. So that's my little thread getting out of jail card. Just in case.
I thought it was the other way round. I thought the Chemical Brothers were the Dust Brothers originally.
Oh, okay.
And they had to change their name because the American. Well, who knows?
Who knows? Well, I'm sure in the comments we're gonna have a war about who had it first. Was it us?
Throw it on the YouTube.
Was it the Americans? Was it the English? Anyway, so the album makes use of samples from genres of funk, soul, rock, and jazz. It was recorded over 2 years. Paul's Boutique did not sell that much as License to Ill. However, despite the initial commercial failure, it became recognized as the group's breakthrough album. Oh, that album. We'll talk about the album later.
He's gone all giddy like a school.
with innovative lyrical and sonic style, earning them the position of critical favourites in the hip hop community. I've got to admit, I've never heard this statement. When I read this, I think, well, really? But I suppose if you're into this thing, sometimes the album's described as the Sergeant Pepper of the hip hop.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's what's on there.
Wow.
So, anyway, Paul's Boutique has placed on several lists of the greatest albums of all time and viewed by many critics as a landmark album of the golden age of hip hop and seminal work in sample-based productions. And you cannot argue with that particular factor there. Anyway, moving on to Check Your Head. Check Your Head is the 3rd album released in 92. So the 2 albums are quite nicely spaced against each other. So it's quite nice, that one. So it's not like we're dealing with a very old album or a very new album, which can be quite different as well.
Mm.
The album was less sample heavy than Paul's Boutique and returned to their punk roots, punkish roots, which featured instrumental contributions of all members. Adrock on guitar, MCA on bass guitar, and Mike D on drums. And he's a good drummer. Check Ahead makes the first appearance of Money Mark, who became a regular contributor of the band. So Money Mark was keyboarder and did a lot of production work for them as well.
And I always got confused between Money Mark and Marky Mark.
No, definitely different people.
Definitely
100% different people.
Yeah.
The Beastie Boys toured with the Rollins Band and Sober Still in '92 to support the album. So,
wow.
First of all, I'm going to go over to Simon and about does he have any history of the Beastie Boys, any stories about the Beastie Boys which involve him?
Well, involve me. I'll tell you, I've got a great fact about Paul's Boutique before we start.
Ooh.
When they showed up to produce Paul's Boutique, the Dust Brothers bought crates and crates of classic rock, 70s souls and hip-hop vinyl, as well as a few samplers. The production duo layered and layered so many samples that when local radio station KEXP, that sounds like that's the definite American radio station, isn't it? When that station played nothing but the songs sampled from Paul's Boutique, it was a full day's worth of radio.
Wow.
That's like how many samples is on there?
Wow, okay.
I think the last count was there's about 400 odd samples which they can't even pick exactly, so they've
because it's like one note or one noise from it's crazy. Me personal about Beastie Boys, of the Beastie's first 5 albums, these two probably passed me by. It just really wasn't what I was into at the time. I kind of skipped from License to Ill to Ill Communication and Hello Nasty. The latter mainly as I worked on the UK section of the Hello Nasty tour.
Oh,
did
you?
Yeah, I did.
Hang on a second.
Just drop that one in.
Yeah, I just want to drop that fact in. It was it was an amazing series of concerts, and they used I
went to it
in the round stage setup. Yeah, I did.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a good little tour, that one.
Dude, you can't just stop there. You got to.
I like that. Yeah.
This is now a separate podcast of that story.
Nothing to.
Yeah, I was on tour with them.
But yeah, that's pretty much my history of the Beastie Boys. After that tour, I kind of lost. I didn't really follow the Beastie Boys again. I kind of fell out of love with them.
I suppose.
Right.
I don't know if it's because it's almost a Green Day-ish. I felt like I was growing up and they weren't.
No, nothing like Green Day.
Nothing like Green Day. Not the same music, but I don't feel they grew up their music. Well, their music did grow up. I just felt like I grew up faster than they did.
You just fell out with them, that's all. Yeah. Not fell out with them. I mean, you just
that wasn't the end of the tour.
I've had enough. Fuck you, MCA.
Why do you think we should offer you this job? Well, I've grown up faster than the Beastie
Boys. Okay, Cath.
Yeah, kind of similar. So obviously aware of the Beastie Boys in the 80s when they did Fight for Your Right. Wasn't really interested in them, not into hip hop. My household was very sort of metal. Although someone of teenager years was buying pop music. But yeah, sort of got back into them, sort of almost like rediscovered them in the 90s when they released Ill Communication, which was an amazing album. And yeah, I mean, they're on sort of MTV, the video was brilliant.
Sabotage was just everywhere.
All of my friends got really into Beastie Boys. But then it seemed to be sort of diminishing returns a little bit with the following albums from that. I mean, they were interesting, but they weren't quite as iconic as Ill Communication. And then they sort of dropped off my radar again. So it's actually been really interesting listening to these two albums, because I think some of the tracks, I mean, they all sound familiar because Beastie Boys have just got that sound. But I don't think I'd heard... I hadn't heard most of the tracks on these two albums, so it was really interesting listening to them.
Oh, cool. Okay, Robbie?
Well, not too dissimilar to Cath. I clearly remember when they first started. Was it Fight for Your Right that had Kerry King from Slayer do a solo at the end. Certainly in the video. So it was getting played on MTV sort of rock shows and stuff, basically because of that inclusion. Never really listened to these two albums. Of course, remember Sabotage. Didn't realize that came out in '94.
Oh my God.
Yeah, God, really long ago. I never bought that album. And then I think the only album I ever had of theirs was Hello Nasty. When they, what was the Intergalactic
Planetary.
Yeah. So I actually had that one, and I really liked that because it had the last track. I'm trying to think of his name, and it will come back to me later. Real sort of classic reggae dude. It will come back. Oh yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I missed them at Reading by 5 years. Never saw them live. Just very much in the periphery. Always known but never investigated. Wow. I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, and also for Cath, just looking up the Dust Brothers while we were talking. Also well known for their work with Beck as well on the Guillermo album.
Really?
So yes, there you go.
Yeah, they got the same sort of samples that Beck uses on some of his tracks, which was quite interesting to me.
Yeah.
Did you find out, Robbie, about the Dust Brothers, Chemical Brothers debate we've had just had? So
I believe it was the Chemical Brothers were known as the Dust Brothers, and they had to change their name. So
I retract my fact. I will now send myself outside and flog myself. Not in that nice way. No.
Flagellation is the only answer.
Right, my history with the Beastie Boys. Oh my God. This band,
settling everybody.
This band, it's not going to be that long. I'm just going to, it's just going to be gush. Right. So, my very first memories, I was at school, went on holiday to Greece, and I had my own little Sony cassette player, and I had 2 albums. I can't even remember what the second album is, but the first album was Beastie Boys' License to Ill, and I was on a 2-week holiday, and all I remember is literally taking the tape out and turning it over, taking the tape out, turning it over, taking the tape out, turning it over. Loved it, absolutely loved it.
Oh, you didn't have one of the advanced auto reverse?
No. I wasn't a posh kid. And it wasn't even a Sony, it was on there, so an album.
You're going to finish enough Sky TV next, aren't
you? So, however, at that point in my life, I really did not like rap. I really did not like hip hop at all. I thought it was awful. I used to, and I shame myself on it, but I used to call it crapping. Hated it. Couldn't stand it. Had no time, because I was definitely into like Queen and Dire Straits and all the typical things when you're like a little teenager and you're trying to like figure out where your bases are and all that. And then a few friends started. I don't know. It's where you do normally get all your influences from anyway. Like all your friends just like banding for stuff around. But for some reason, I really clicked with Selma, and I don't know why. I just absolutely loved it. Maybe it was the rebellious, like, fight for your right, and it's all that angry teenager nonsense and whatever. And when you listen to the album now, it is a pretty bad album. It really is. Lyrically, it's terrible. Musically, it's not good. However, it did make them enough bank to actually do the stuff what they really wanted to do. And so now, like, we'll move on to the License to Ill. The first time I heard that album, it blew Stuart's little socks off. I could not believe what I was listening
to. Did they fly across the room?
Honestly, it was like going, how at that time, though, you got to put in perspective, nobody knew about, oh no, they can't use that sample, it's not allowed, they've got to pay for it. They just go, how can you have this? Like, there was lots of other bands around about that time as well. Not way before then, but like a local band which I was really into called Pot Will Eat Itself, who did a lot of sampling as well.
Band.
It's a lot of sampling as well. So that was like, and then that's how I started getting into, hang on a sec, no, I should like rap and I should like dance and I should like other things and don't get myself stuck in a rut. So this band, Beastie Boys, kind of helped me become the person I am as in musically, as in like diverse, because they have got so many influences. You can't say the Beastie Boys have not nicked from everybody, because they have absolutely everybody. They've just taken stuff from, influences from. So this album, when I first listened, it absolutely blew me away. And then Check Your Head. Oh my God. Because then I was starting to get into like grungy stuff, and then that album just dropped at the right time. It was, every track was perfect. in my eye at that time. So it was just like, and the videos are fantastic as well, because MC also directed all the videos, and it was one of the first on What You Want, which will be a fact, I'm afraid, but I might as well say it now. It was the first time the technique of using slow motion video while delivering the lyrics, so it looked like at normal speed, but it was in slow motion. It was like revenue, and then after that, loads of people used it all the time. So it's like things like that. So, you know what? Let's just get this over with, because I'm scared what you lot are going to do. I'm scared. My last offerings to this group have just been slayed
for months.
So, I'm scared. Right then, let's begin.
So
now,
All right then.
I will do a little preview. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of the songs intros. I'm just going to go introducing the songs, and then please feel free to throw in all the facts or whatever what you want to.
Before we go into the songs, we do have some creative licensing.
We do.
So let's get that out.
What is that?
Creative license, when we match up tracks somehow, when the albums have 52 bajillion tracks of skits on them.
This is one of them.
So in order for the two albums to match up, we have performed creative licensing, and it's very convoluted this month, so do bear with us. So what we've done is we've not separated the B-boy Bouillabaisse?
French soup. We'll just call it French soup.
French soup, okay. The Beastie Boys French soup. On Paul's Boutique, we've not separated the tracks. We've joined them all together as one track. We've removed 5-piece chicken dinner and Ask for Janice on Paul's Boutique because they're literally just skits. We've added 33% God and Diss Yourself in 89 for the Japanese edition of Paul's Boutique because they're actually songs. And we've removed the following tracks from Check Your Head as they were all skits or less than a minute. And they are Funky Boss, The Biz versus Nuge, Time for Living, The Blue Nun, and Mark on the Bus.
I know, Blue Nun's ace. I've always loved that.
It's an advert. It's just an advert.
I don't care. It's good. Right then. So after Simon's quite rightly pointed out the adjustments what we've had to make, let's get on with the shiz.
Let's do it.
Right. So the first two songs up are To All the Girls and Jimmy James. Now, I'm going to go with Si first on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. What's your thoughts and stories or whatever?
Okay, so Jimmy James is the third single from the album. And To All the Girls, unsurprisingly, not a single at all. To All the Girls, that track's so short. It literally just scrapes by our 1 minute rule. It's literally the band tuning up and nothing more.
Oh, no, come on. Deeper than that.
Hey, easy now.
Deeper.
You'll get your turn.
Back in your box, Whitehouse. Jimmy James. Okay, do we really need to announce that this is the first track on the new album when it's featured on as the first track of the new album?
Oh, semantics. Come on.
It is a lesson in master mic skills combined with very much what you expect from the Beastie Boys. It is such a much stronger opener. It's simply stronger opener, mainly because it's actually a song and a track rather than a warm up. So yeah, for me, Jimmy James, it is. Told you that these notes are pithy.
Well, that was quick. Woof.
17 tracks to get through.
Right then, Cath.
Okay, right. To All the Girls, smooth vibes, organs playing slow, ladies in the mix, bells ringing low. Keep it short, keep it tight on that mellow flow. 3 Mike D's out of 5. Now you know how we roll.
Oh, she's going to be rapping the
Jimmy
whole...
James. Almost cut, because the start's got live sound. 5 seconds, let it slide. Now it's going down. Name for MCA, James is the name. Jimi Hendrix samples, bringing that flame. Foxy lady, fire. Yeah, you feeling that heat. Record scratching, nice. Got you out your seat. 3.5 Mike D's, this track's elite.
Whoa. She's coming with the flavour.
God, that's a mic drop. I take is it Jimmy James?
That's right, yeah, 3.5.
Right, okay. Okay,
Jeez.
Good. Whew. God, you've set your own bar now, Dan, all the way through. You've got to deliver this.
You started strong on track 1.
Yeah.
Right, Robbie?
Well, it's all downhill when you start at the top. So I start with To All the Girls, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to turn into The Weekend Starts by Here by Fatboy Slim, and then it does. So I'm not sure if they sampled it from, I mean, again, it's Public Enemy territory here. It's like, where did the original bit? Is that actually them playing?
Yeah.
Did they sample it? If that's them playing, then hats off. And there's some examples in the later parts of the album. It's like, are they actually playing this? Like, because I know they do the punk stuff, but can they play like this as well? To all the girls, it was a shame that it was only 1 minute 29 because I thought, yeah, we're getting a real groove on here. Let's go. But lyrically, yeah, just nothing really going on there. So yeah, it had potential, and we're going to hear the word potential a lot in this comparison.
No, we're not.
But Jimmy James, yeah, straight into familiar Beastie Boys territory. The scratching starts off kind of cool, then kind of annoyed me kind of immediately. And it's like Cypress Hill, they're immediately recognizable as the Beastie Boys, you know. If all the girls had been longer and had more lyrics or just perhaps no lyrics, then it might have beaten Jimmy James. But as it was, although it's completely standard Beastie Boys stuff, I think there are better tracks which are standard Beastie Boys stuff. And the only other thing I thought, although Jimmy James wins, I can say that now, some of the mixing levels were weird because there were like these really loud effects that came on over the top of the rest. And I was like, that was a bit galling and a bit grating to my delicate ears. But Jimmy James for the win.
Excellent choice. Now, I think in hindsight, what I should have done, and it's on me this completely, I should have got rid of To All the Girls completely, and we should have had Shake Your Rump against Jimmy James.
Ooh.
And that would have been a far harder battle. Far harder. But it is what it is, and so I will stand by what has been chosen. So To All the Girls, I like it. It's just shout out to all the girls, you know, just hey.
Well, Cath didn't get a mention.
Well, okay, not all of them, but if it was a longer song, you could have got to Cath eventually.
Yeah.
And all the other girls, you know, including air stewardesses, which he mentions right on the very last one. Right, so Jimmy James. Now, interesting you should say that, Robbie, about is this sample or that? They use samples in it, but they got raked over the coals because of Paul's Boutique, and they couldn't do that again. So they had to do a lot of stuff. So they probably recreated the sample,
right,
as in played it, and then sampled it themselves in that kind of style. So there's a lot of that as well. But they use a lot of samples as well.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's Jimmy James. So it contains samples from Foxy Lady, Jimi Hendrix songs, Foxy Lady, Happy Birthday, and Still Raining, Still Dreaming. And it originally started out in an instrumental track, and you can imagine it just them jamming in a basement, and it's just there. Some facts: Hendrix's family, who owns the catalog, denied the group the use of all the samples. Determined to keep the song on Check Your Head, the group re-recorded Jimmy James using samples similar to the Hendrix ones. So that's why you're thinking, oh, is it? Isn't it? Is it? Where is it?
What?
A few months later, though, this is the amazing one. A few months later, Check Your Head was released. Hendrix family relented and gave clearance to use the samples. What started the album was right. So yeah. So in the end, but they didn't re-record it. They could, if they wanted to, then use
I would have turned around and said, "Forget it. Too late now. We've done it ourselves."
Well, yeah. They may have.
I check for you.
I don't know whether I don't know whether I read. I didn't really research that one, but just the start of Jimmy James is. It's just that bass drum. It's just brilliant. I mean, it wins hands down completely. It's like you can't even compare it to All the Girls.
Really,
I like All the Girls. It's a nice little skit into the album. And to be fair, if All the Girls was actually a part of Shake Your Rump, it would be brilliant because the way that track ends and then Shake Your Rump starts is perfect.
Yeah.
Where they bleed.
There is a couple of tracks like that they bleed them.
Exactly, yeah. But this album Armageddon's not about that. And they should have thought about that when they made
the album.
Exactly. Yeah, they should have thought about that in 25 years' time.
Right then. Two beasts of a song are up next. Two champions, two Goliaths, let's say. Shake Your Rump.
Have I got the wrong matchup then?
Shake Your Rump and Pass the Mic.
Pass the Mic are the next ones, and I'm going to go to Robbie for this one. I'm very intrigued what he's
Right.
going to
Well,
say about this.
I don't see this as a Titanic matchup by any means. There's a clear winner and a clear loser. So Shake Your Rump, love the guitar and the funky bass as well. And the one thing that sort of leapt out at me was this does not sound like 1989, although 89 was a particularly good year for music, I might say, although it lacked the sort of the production values of the mid 90s, which I really liked. So yeah, it seemed ahead of its time. So we've talked about sort of timeless music before, certainly with people like Amy Winehouse and stuff. And I think this seems timeless in the way that they've just used old instrumentation to make it, like some of the snare sounds have that sort of real classic quality. I did indeed shake my rump at one point during the listening. Just shake your rump as instructed. I followed the instructions. So past the mic. Yeah, the beat sounded really muddy to me, and there may be some really clever tricks going on there, but I think I missed them because of the production, and I just didn't think it sounded as cleverly put together as Shake Your Rump. A nice stand-up bass line. Then there was, and we get this a lot, where the Beastie Boys throw ideas in and they go, yeah, that was good, but we're not going to use that again. There's not going to be any motif here. So they just chuck a heavy guitar riff in, and then they're like, right, that's it. We won't go back to that. Because I kept listening out for it. Are we going to go back to that bit? No, apparently not. And then again, later there's some sort of like scratched bass line that comes out of nowhere, doesn't go on for long enough, and then has a really super abrupt ending to the whole song. So yeah, I think Shake Your Rump for the win. And the only other thing I'd say about Pass the Mic was I noticed that their vocal style seemed a lot rawer. So it's obviously an earlier album where they haven't sort of smoothed out the edges a bit, which they do with their like things like Sabotage and Hello Nasty later on. So yeah, Shake Your Rump for the win.
Wow. I've got so many things to say about that. But anyway, Cath, please.
Right, so Shake Your Rump, lively beat, got them pauses so sweet, drums hitting hard, effects on repeat, rhymes swaying heavy, more than mangoes in JA. Shake your rumpa, let the music play. James Brown sample, funky president groove. 4 Mike D's out of 5, that's the move.
Hey!
Pass the mic. Hip hop, funk, with a punk rock start. Loud guitar riff, hitting hard, playing its part. Gritty vibe, rougher than the last track. 2 Mike D's, but it's still got that smack.
Wow.
Oh,
and your vote is
Shake Your Rump.
Well, were you not counting the Mike?
Are you not
D's?
counting the Mike D's, huh?
wow. Shake Your Rump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am actually completely blown away by this. Okay, sorry. You're up.
I don't wonder anymore. How are you supposed to follow MC?
Well,
MCCM, isn't
it?
No. Okay, so Shake Your Rump. We very much got a license to ill beasties here, or so you would think initially. Then that huge fat bass kicks in, and we get a sample-tastic track. But fuck me, it works so well. The rhythm and the lyrics also remind me so much of No Sleep Till Brooklyn. It's just got that same sort of like rhythm of delivery. And for me, that's a good thing. That's where I came into the Beasties, was that. So any like throwbacks to that sort of era, I'm all aboard on. Pass the Mic, first single from the album. To me, it sounds such like a live track. You've got that Pass the Mic style, which I know is very much the Beasties' style of them each singing a little bit of a line.
Yeah.
And it works really well live. And I think this track would be amazing live. Not so sure amazing is the right word for the actual album version, though. It seems a bit too, like as you said, probably a bit rough. It's got a nice little sample of Tax Free by Jimi Hendrix in there. So obviously this was done after they said that they could use the Hendrix samples. But the ability to rhyme leaves them completely. And I quote, everybody rapping like it's a commercial, acting like life is a big Commercial.
Yeah, that is actually what I wanted to say. That's the bit I really don't like about that song. I completely agree with you.
It's like, whoa, it's like they've gone, commercial. You used the wrong word there, but it's like commercial, demercial. No, just use commercial again. It's also such a very busy track. And because of that, I'm going to raise Headmaster Stu's ire and I'm going to vote for Shake Your Rump as well.
Wow.
So
I
actually
really really quite surprised that you guys did that, only because of your metal backgrounds, and I thought that Pasture Mike would be more of a, not traditional metal, but like that kind of thing.
Well, because they stuck a guitar line in that lasted for 3 seconds and never went back to it. No,
I completely disagree with the of everybody's. I can't disagree with Cath's comment because the way it's been delivered, it's
this feels like a master stroke by Cath this month, doesn't it?
Whatever Cath says, right. So I'll go through it. So Shake Your Rump. Yes, I don't know if anybody noticed, but the 2-minute mark, the water bubbling, that is definitely bong water, for real, recorded.
Okay.
That's what they used.
Yeah.
Shake Your Rump wasn't released as a single, as we've already known, but it was one of the most popular live songs of the group, who include it on most of their set lists. And the voice, what says, "Hello, is this Michael Diamond?" It was actually a messenger who came into the delivery, who came to do a delivery, and they went, "Oh, we'll sample that." So it's like those little drips that they just name. It's awesome. Pass the mic. I don't know how you can even diss this track in any way. I mean, okay, sorry. Apart from the lyrical commercial, I've always hated that. That is the bit which has ruined the song for me. The intro beat to that is just so raw and so of that time. I mean, maybe I've got a tinted glazer because I grew up with that, and that's what it was, and that was the sound. That was the sound everybody wanted to emulate as well. And it was just so raw and brilliant.
Muddy.
And no, it wasn't muddy. It isn't muddy. I've listened to it again. It's not muddy. Everything's all well defined. Everything's all there.
Nonsense.
Everything's all where it needs to be. So, anyway, back to the tradition of MC battling. So just there, a lot of Beastie Boys lyrics are just complete nonsense anyway. They're just, but they're typical rap battling stuff. So the best line, my most favorite line on that song though is, "And if you think you're slick, you're gonna catch a brick, yo." I love it. It's just the way it was delivered is absolutely perfect. The drum is perfect in my guys. It's just the whole sound of that song is absolutely amazing. I am not going to use my napalm death. I was downfully close though. I was going to be using this earlier, but I'm going to concede. I'm going to go with Pass the Mic because it is the better track. But I'm going to concede with the group and bow out gracefully.
Shake Your Rump.
Okay.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, Shake Your Rump for the win. Right then. The next track 3, is Jimmy Ryall v's Gratitude. Cath. Let's go to you first.
It's Johnny Ryall, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Did I say?
You said Jimmy?
No, I thought it said Johnny. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, Johnny.
Jimmy's his
Ryall.
brother.
Okay, well, Johnny Ryall, once a rock star, now he's on the street. Memphis legend, now he can't make ends meet. Mid-tempo beat, Beasties bring the sound. Guitar noodling chorus when Johnny was renowned. Fun track, but dark truth it conveys. Fall from grace in a land where freedom sways. 3 Mike D's, keeping real these days.
Nice.
That's
before we
awesome.
go any further, how many is the Mike D's out of?
5.
5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
7.5. I mean,
Gratitude. Fat riff screaming. Beastie beat thumping strong. Keys stabbing. Bad brain sample in the throng. Gratitude pumping. Journey on display. Lyrics are blur, but the energy won't stray. 4 Mike D's. This track's a rocking relay.
wow.
That's
awesome.
Wow. Dear ChatGPT, please write me 4 stanza rap on Beastie. Cath, can I just start? Did you just say Bad Brains in there?
I did.
There's a Bad Brains sample.
Yeah, big takeover.
Really?
Yes.
Well, colour me interested and ignorant at the same time.
You can't help it.
Fact.
Wow.
Facted. Right then.
Gratitude.
Sorry.
So that's me. Okay, so Johnny Ryall, guitar sample of Sharon by David Bromberg. I likes it. I love this version of the pieces where it sounds like there's just one main rapper and the other two are just interjecting. into the song. Obviously, it's going to be much more planned out than press and record and just ad lib in one take. But fuck me, that chorus sucks. Great big hairy ones. I mean, Jesus Christ, that is an awful chorus. Gratitude. Now, I initially thought that the bass line was a sample of something, as it sounded so familiar. But this is a really sampled light track, where the Beasties hark back to their more hardcore roots. And it's one of those ones where I think we mentioned it earlier, Stu, where they actually obviously couldn't get clearance for the sample they wanted, so they just decided to play a version of it and then sample what they played, which is a great get around. It really is. This one surely would have appealed to a more American rock radio as well, and almost a precursor to Sabotage. It's just got that same sort of feel to it. The bass line with that fuzz is front and centre and just smacking you in the face. And then we finish up with some hammered style bacon. So yeah, there's not much to not like about Gratitude. And you've got that really awful chorus of Johnny Ryall. So for me, Gratitude every single day.
Excellent. Robbie?
All right, so Johnny Ryall, I like the intro and I like the drum and bass groove that they had going on. The guitar line's got that sort of, I don't know what you would call it, as urban music, urban style. So it just conjures up images of them already planning sabotage, sitting around in cop cars, eating donuts already, and that is the sound that they've come up with. Again, there's another thing that they've done. So there's like a "Who do you think you are" line by some female vocals at one point that never comes back. So the minute you've got into like a little hook line or something, it's like, okay, I'm waiting for that to go. No, not going to do it. It was a one trick. So yeah, who do you think you are, Johnny Ryall? Who do you think you are? Gratitude. I didn't know that Bad Brains was sampled in there. That would have impressed me even more had I clocked that. I like the bass riff to start with. It was one of their, and I put in my comments, rock tracks. And I thought it was really great. And I sort of wondered, was this like a really, really early example of rock rap crossover? And then I started thinking, I wonder what the earliest exponent of that was. So the other thing I like is when, I don't know which of the three of them it is, but there's certain lyrics that they do that finish in on. So like rock on, and then it sounds quite spacey when they put like effects on it, and he does that loads of times throughout the career. A few Hammond organ punches. I could say that better, but my teeth have fallen out. Yeah, what's not to like about the groove of Gratitude? Gratitude wins it for me, easy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Despite the Hammond punches and the organ.
Nothing wrong with a Hammond punch.
That's right.
Who you're referring to then is Mike D, Robbie. Right, that's a typical way Mike D delivers his
Yeah.
lyrics as well, and it's awesome. To be fair, he's one of my favourites at the back.
Yeah, it just reminded me. There's another. I can't remember which track it is, but he sort of says "flame on."
Yeah, flame on.
Yeah. It's really.
I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but when they put like a little delay or an echo on it, it makes it sound like super spacey. I really like it.
Now, Robbie has quite rightly pointed out, we've been saying Royal. It's Ryall. Was it Ryall?
Ryall.
We're not saying
Ryall.
Yeah, Ryall. So,
Ryall.
yeah, I do apologise. That's my fault. Anyway, so right, where are my notes? Right, so that song, it's got multiple samples on there. So you've got One of These Days by Pink Floyd. You got Mama Miss America by Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Magnificent Century Band by Donny Hathaway. Military Cut Scratch Mix by DJ Graham Wizard Thrope. I don't know that one myself.
It's made up half of these.
So anyway, but this like typical from that album is just like samples and samples and samples, and there's probably samples in there which they don't even know. They just threw them in there. So, but the song is actually, it's not a nonsense song. It's actually about a homeless guy, believe it or not.
The nonsense will come stronger later on.
who's on the streets by their recording studio and da. So, it's a great song. It's all right. Who said it was got vibes of License to Ill? Was that you, Si? I think, you are right, and I think it suffers because of that myself. It's okay.
I think something that helps it,
but I love the beats and the way all the samples all meshed together and that. So it's really good in that sense. Right, Gratitude. There's no rapping in this song. I don't know about the rap rock thing where you got that from. Myself, it's just not punk. But it's more just screeching down the mic and not rapping in a way. Well, I don't think it was. That was just my take on it, really. But it was a song on Guitar Hero 5. I actually heard, quite a lot of it because that's what it was. But that dirty bass, it's so good.
Yeah, really good.
And the drumming is so good. And I'm sorry, even Simon is right. You can't not love a song with a Hammond in it. It's like the best.
Yeah, I think we're all sold on that.
Yeah. Gratitude Hammond is for the win. A clean sweep on that one.
Yeah, the Hammond is the complete antithesis of the saxophone.
Put it in. You only need one chord, and it fixes everything. It's amazing. Don't want to play? No, don't play. It fuzzes it all up. Just one chord.
Well, this is it. It's like the Hammond is the musical bacon, whereas the saxophone is a veggie burger.
It's called Sprout.
Veggie burger.
Yeah, it's a sprout. Yeah.
Sorry for all our listeners who love Brussels sprouts, but not on this show.
Yeah. The oasis of instruments.
Track 4, Eggman vs Lighten Up. I'm going to go straight to Robbie on this one, actually. I think.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Eggman, what a tale. I mean, drive-by eggings plaguing LA. I was delighted to follow the story of Eggman. And I don't know if you noticed, we also got a boy.
Oh, who didn't notice?
There. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Good.
So, I did enjoy Eggman. But one of the things I thought, without the music, like in the way that they did it, would the Beastie Boys have just been as nasally disliked as band like Primus? Because they're not actually, when you listen to the music that they do versus the rapping, they're actually much better at the music. I mean, I know it's the rapping that sold them, but they're much better musically. So, but I did enjoy Eggman. However, Lighten Up, well, we've got the Hammond stuck around from the last track, and he's punched in another slice of bacon for us to enjoy. There's a sort of cool, I don't know if it's an African groove to start with, but I like that. And again, it's just they're better at these instruments than they are. If this is them playing, and I don't know how much of it's just slung together samples, but they're better at this. And it's starting to turn them into like a schizoid band. Are we going to play some nice groovy, funky lounge style music where we can jump in our cop cars at any minute? Or are we going to play or do some rap stuff? It was very different from this is the first one where I was like completely thrown by what they were doing musically, because it's not what I was used to for the Beastie Boys. And because of that, Eggman did get bested here. I thought Lighten Up was really good, really interesting. And then with only a minute to go, then it explodes into like a proper good groove. And then it stops. Every time they doeth and they taketh away again. So I thought Lighten Up could have gone on a lot longer, but definite one for the win, and highly recommended to people that think they know the Beastie Boys.
Oh, good. I had horrible visions that you're going, look at them trying to play the instruments. They're really bad. And all that makes me happy. That makes me very happy.
It threw me off. It's like, I can understand why they have side projects.
Yeah.
But I also understand that they had to sort of do this because I think the rapping side gets too one-dimensional if it was just track after track after track of that.
Yeah.
They definitely had a lot more colours to their palette than perhaps we knew. So,
sorry.
Yeah. So Eggman. Oh, what a lot of nonsense that is.
No, it's an important story about people egging.
Sorry, that really very important news report of the drive-by eggings. It's got the bass line of Superfly by Curtis Mayfield.
Right. I thought
and it's mixed with samples of the Psycho theme and Bring the Noise from Public Enemy.
Okay.
I mean, this track is sample-tastic and lyrically a nonsense. And although I say it quite often that some bands' couplets are very much copulates. Let's try that again. Some bands' couplets are very much Dr. Zeus. The Beasties actually do use Dr. Zeus on this track, mentioning both Sam I Am and Green Eggs and Ham.
Yeah, they do.
Lighten Up, though. I mean, the piece begins. I'm going to call it a piece because it's a different type of thing that we expect from the Beasties. It's got a nice swaying groove, powered by congas and a shaker to begin with. Soon joined by that steady rolling bass line, and as you said, Robbie, that beautiful bacon gets added by Money Mark.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a prog rock feel to the entire affair. It's similar to like the shorter pieces of King Crimson. I've got that sort of vibe from it. But the vocals are all but a repeated mantra. But that kind of adds to the psychedelic hazy feel of the track. So where am I going to vote for this? Well, Eggman is pretty much what you expect of the Beasties. I mean, it is nonsense, and they are notorious for nonsense.
Yeah.
However, like
when the great egging in LA happens, you'll have to revise that and say they were visionaries.
Nostradamus of the hip hop world. But Lighten Up is just so very different and just showcases them as more as magicians.
That's what I thought.
Musical magicians is what they are. So I'm going to go with Lighten Up, as I think it's a good palate cleanser for what's to come. And also, it's like you, Robert, I think people need to hear this to understand the depth that the Beasties did have. They weren't just the nonsense lyrics. And I need to stop talking because I'm losing the ability to.
So that now just needs to Cath, our MC Cath.
Right, Eggman, high plains drifter, washboard percussion start, cheeky bass melody playing its part. Did this drop before the Public Enemy sound? Oi, in the middle, now we're messing around. Which came first, P.E. chicken or Beastie egg? I ate the chick and then I ate his leg. Free Mike D's, this track's got the swag. And then we've got Lighten Up. Chill vibes rolling, squeaky plate in the mix. Beck magic touch, it ain't just the clicks. Shows these Beasties got more than rhyme to display. Laid back heater gets my head in the sway. For Mike D's, a different side here to stay.
Okay.
So it's Lighten Up from me.
It's like listening to Pam Ayres, isn't it?
Right, Eggman. Sample Sport from 1973 track Funk by Lightning Rod. But the band Lightning Rod, if anybody knows them.
No.
Bits of Matty Schofield, obviously, Superfly, and Public Enemy, Bring the Noise, and Gonna Get Yours, a couple of tracks. Now, it makes me sad, this song, because there's a saxophone in it. I don't know if anybody's actually picked that up. There is a sax in there.
Blind, I think.
There is a saxophone in there, but the Beastie Boys can pull it off, so they're good. They're good in my eyes. That they know how to disguise it. Funny story.
With a massive Hammond over the top.
It's really odd. Right, when we was kids or whatever, and this album come out, and we used to know a guy called Hayes. So obviously, when this song came out, we were just like laughing. Oh, we all smashed eggs on Hayes' back. Yeah, it made us laugh for minutes. I tell you.
Well, I tell you what, that's one for the video clip.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Lighten Up. It is just great. I'm glad you lot like it. It is an instrumental, and it does show what they're capable of. Yes, they played all the instruments on that track. I think there was a couple of like background samples, but nothing which would detract from their actual playing skills, which is awesome. So I'm just going to stop talking, and it's going to be Lighten Up for a win there, because it's absolutely brilliant. So the next track 5, is it?
We are indeed.
Five, yeah. Is Higher Plains Drifter, V's Finger Licking Good. I believe I want to get a Simon on this one.
Oh, you don't? You really, really don't.
That means I definitely do.
High Plains Drifter. It's much like the self-encapsulated story of the Drive-By Eggins. High Plains Drifter also is another self-encapsulated story. You don't get this from the Beasties normally. You normally get nonsense and samples. So this again is a little different. But the timing of the Beasties on this one is completely on point. Precisely enunciated, and when you combine that with a sample of the Eagles, those shoes, it just works exceptionally well. I really do like High Plains Drifter. Finger licking good. Wow. We've got a die with your boots on style chorus right here, and in case you missed it, it's finger licking good, yo. Finger licking, a finger licking good, yo. Finger licking good, yo. I mean, how the fuck did Colonel Sanders not sue them for this one? I mean,
free advertising.
Yeah, that's probably exactly it. I mean, but the sample of Tom Thumb's Blues just spliced in there as well is really jarring. It's like that sample just comes out of nowhere. I mean, they've done it before where they've used one sample and never used it again, like you said, Rob. But it normally works. It normally slides in there and slides back out again. And you want more of it.
Blimey.
That's a different podcast. But this one, it just smacks you in the face. And you're like, what the fuck was that? For me,
it slides in and it slides out and it slaps you in the face. I mean, where are we going here?
Look, it's just a family show.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have that adult only for this one, aren't we?
That's why I edit all those words at the start. Make it a family show.
For me, High Plains Drifter is just a better track. It's not a nonsense. It has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. Sample-wise, it's just enough without being too much. Although a little whiny, the chorus, it's far better than that KFC-inspired chorus. So High Plains Drifter for me.
Interesting. Okay, Robbie.
I would like to offer...
What have you got to offer?
If your honour will entertain this, I'd like to offer an opposing view. High Plains Drifter, so it starts with an almost reggae beat. I've written with a wonderful wooden block cowbell attempt. Perhaps that was just a wooden block. I don't know why I had to throw the word cowbell in there.
Because you need more cowbell.
More cowbell. But there are cowbells that come in later on, which I fully appreciated. So there's a little bit of guitar in the background. I thought High Plains Drifter sort of drifted back to like earlier style, like Fight for Your Right. But as such, doesn't really go anywhere musically, I thought. It's a good story about being a criminal. It reminds me of that track about being a shoplifter, which was, I think, Green Day.
Yeah.
Except lyrically,
it's a callback.
Far superior. Now, Finger Licking Good has a flute line in it, and some nice bongos, and a cool drum line, and a simple but effective bass line. There's a bit more flow to the rap going on. And then in the middle, there's a bit of a sitar swell, which I thought was very cool. And then I thought there was like a Bob Dylan sample in there.
There was a Bob Dylan sample in there. You would be correct in assuming that.
At this point, I wasn't sure whether I was just going mad and imagining things or dreaming that that would be a good sample in there. So there must be that sample in there in my mind. But yeah, so I thought Finger Licking Good was the far superior track. Boom, 1-1.
Excellent.
Everyone can have their opinion. It doesn't mean they're right.
Except when it's me.
Cath?
Right, High Plains Drifter, tempo slower than most tracks. Ain't the best, but it's got the JB smack. Pass the P sample, bringing that funk. Rap game strong, never gonna flunk. Swapping verses quick, impressive with the flow. 2 Mike D's out of 5, just so you know.
Hey.
You like that one? There was a little grin on your face when you dropped that last line.
Finger Licking Good, Scratch Master flexing, melodies on fire, memorable hook, gonna take you higher. Dylan whispers at the end, a surprise delight. Funky foundation, but something ain't quite right. Three Mike D's, catchy but missing a bite.
I like
Nice.
the chicken segue there.
So how many Mike D's did Drifter get?
2.
2. So you're finger licking as well.
We need a
Yeah,
sub
I certainly am.
episode which rates not just the tracks but Cath's rap about the facts.
Oh, please don't rate that. I mean, that's
That's
awful.
meta. That is meta.
I am not a rapper.
Right. I Planes Drifter. I really like it. It is like old school, but I like the way it starts with the Glock clicking, and it's just like it sounds really good,
God,
especially with
yeah.
the headphones on, and then that bass line is just amazing, isn't it?
You
It's
know
just-
that never works on audio when you go, have you heard this one?
You're an IL Price employee's worst nightmare.
It doesn't help the listener.
No, I'll put the sample on. We'll get sued. Don't worry about it. And it's like it's the song what everybody's like said. It is a story about criminals and whatnot, and but it doesn't really do anything. But it doesn't have to do anything. It's just that kind of song. And also, what I have noticed, apart from Cath's, because I can't figure out because there's a rap going on, but like Beastie Boys is more about. It's a bit bad. There's more about to say. They are more style. They are more a fashion. The music, like Finger Licking Good, that is an amazing piece of music. If you think of it, if you break it all down into each little sections, it's just cool. You could have a little sound out of that and just have it over a loop in a game or something, or and an advert and things like
For
that.
KFC.
This song, sorry.
For KFC.
For KFC, yeah. It doesn't really matter because most of the lyrics are absolute nonsense anyway. It's the way it's delivered and the way they sound together and the way they mix up. Like one of my favorite lyrics in this song is like, "Keyboard money Mark, he ain't having it. Just give him some wood and he'll build you a cabinet." I love that so much. It's just absolutely perfect Beastie Boys nonsense, and I love it. And
It's very much like like we've mentioned it a few times. When you've got like a song that's really happy and it's like diddly dee diddly dee diddly, but the actual lyrics are talking about someone topping themselves or something really dark. It's kind of like that where they deliver nonsense so seriously. It's not until you actually sit there and listen to it and go, actually,
I don't
that's
think
nonsense.
it's serious. No, because Mike D's just such a playful character, and he's just I don't know. Have you watched any videos of theirs while you've been researching Beastie Boys? No.
Yeah, because that's a new feature of Spotify. It's an amazing new feature.
You can't take them serious. You just can't. They're just lovely. It's just really nice. Anyway, sorry.
I was just going to say, we've talked about this before, where in some respects, some bands get away with talking nonsense, but because of the meter or the way that the pace of it, or just the combination of syllables, it just sounds cool.
Yeah. And that's what they are. I love this band dearly, but lyrically they are absolute nonsense. Most of them, anyway. But I don't care. It's just the way it flows and it feels, and you can when you sing along, everything just all mixes and matches together. So, anyway, my vote was Finger Licking Good. By the way, if you didn't get that,
Nice.
Well, that's the correct choice.
That is the
it's
correct
the correct choice. Right then. So the next two up are Sound of Science and So What You Want. I am very interested in your views on this one. Who do I go to? Sorry, let's hear you first.
Okay, so Sounds of Science. What do you listen to when you want to hear the Beatles but not listen to the Beatles? I mean, if this track used any more Beatles material, it'd be an Oasis track.
Ooh.
It's guitars from the end, Sgt. Pepper reprised drums, airplane landing from back in the USSR at the beginning before it melts into the When I'm 64 bass line. I think there's a bit of James Brown near the end as well. I mean, I have to say, I hate the first minute of the track.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not a polka fan, then?
No. And it's like the way they deliver the Sound of Science. It's just a bit too whiny. But then we get into like the more Beatlesque aspect, and it really comes in. I mean, lyrically, there's some great ones here. Expanding the horizon and expanding the perimeter. Expanding the rhymes of sucker MC amateurs. However, it's done in that, as I said, that whiny, nasally tone, and I don't care for it. The middle section of the song, which makes me think it's a huge live track. I didn't check the set list. That's normally Rob's job to check live tracks.
Is it?
Normally.
No one took me to this.
And then as I say, we get into the Beatles section, which works really well. However, that Pat O'Banton sample in the middle is just as jarring as the Bob Dylan one in the last track. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with the Sounds of Science. It's because it's almost a song of three parts. There is a lot going on. So What You Want, second single from the album, is back to a heavier Beasties here. The drums and the riff sound really familiar, but I can't place it. It's one of those ones where it's probably a sample, or maybe it's one of the ones that they played to get round things. I'm not sure. Lyrically, we're back to a nonsense some of the time here. I mean, you're eating crazy cheese like you would think I'm from Paris. What? It's clearly a diss track, but I'm not sure, and it's not clear as to who it's a diss track on. I mean, I'm not going to be sad on what track goes through here, really. But I'm going to go with the little heavier Beasties, so I'm going to go with So What You Want.
Excellent.
Right.
Okay. Robbie.
Hello. So yeah, I was just thinking about lyrics while we were talking. But when you say nonsense lyrics, what is it you want from lyrics? You know, I was thinking of, there's a classic Beastie Boys line. I can't even remember what track it's in. It's not on these albums, which was on Intercontinental when they eat French toast. That is brilliant, you know. And then, of course, from Eggman, I looked out the window, seen his bald head, ran to the fridge and pulled out an egg. I mean, that's storytelling. It's funny. You can fill in the gaps, you know. Anyway, I digress, sorry. So Sounds of Science. So it starts off like a slow polka that's going to speed up, and then it doesn't. And it's like the Beastie Boys without a drum beat for the first minute, which made me think of Dancing in the Street without the music.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if no one's ever seen that, that's well worth YouTubing.
That's a job for Emma to find, I think.
Yeah. So when the beat drops at 140, it's almost like a relief. Oh my God, we're safe again. It's okay. We're not in uncharted territory. But the problem is it's too late by then, in my opinion. They should have cut the first bit, rocked the second bit. Then there's a big reggae drop that sounds cool and you want more of, but you don't get it because it's a classic example of the Beasties not sitting still and ramming as much into one song as they could have done and made 3 or 4 songs out of the amount of ideas. They were just going, right, put this in quick. So for me, Sounds of Science, the best thing about that was the title of the track. I just thought, yeah, they could have easily squeezed 3 good songs out of the amount of ideas. But however, So What You Want, the Hammond's still here. It has not left the building yet, folks. Bravo. So we get a good Hammond blast opening, a big drum beat as well. Then we get a megaphone vocal delivery. Takes me back to the 90s.
We always love a megaphone vocal delivery.
Which sort of sounded a bit like Prototype Rage Against the Machine there in places.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. We get a weird bendy guitar line chorus. And honestly, this one has to win because it simply flows more without jumping around. The other track has more interesting ideas, but they just don't sit still on any of them. And that is one of their guilty pleasures, I think, on these albums. So What You Want for the win for me.
Cool.
Right.
MC Cath.
Right then. Sound of Science, unusual vibe, melodic rap they bring. Beastie Boys switch it up, hear them sing. 5 samples deep, mixing it tight. When the levy breaks, got the rhythm just right. 4 Mike D's, this track's got the groove. Led Zeppelin backbone, making you move.
All right.
So that's 4 Mike D's, just to confirm for that one.
That's a high scorer.
So What You Want, I heard this before, a classic with a thump. Bassline rumbles, Sabbath samples pump. Sweet leaf riff, The recipe's divine. All the right ingredients, a sonic design. 5 Mike D's, this track's a timeless sign.
Good choice.
Wow.
5 Mike D's. The most of the Mike D's.
Yeah.
All of the Mike D's.
All of the Mike
All of
D's.
the Mike
Every
D's.
one of them. Right. So, Sound of Science. Everybody's right. It is a song of 3 parts, really. But I quite like the way it all flows. It's a very old school way. And you know what? Yes, they had 1,000,000,001 ideas on this album. Listen to like 400 odd samples, and that's all the ones which have been counted, and not, it's just so many things just thrown at something. Just try that. They had I think they probably had the most creative freedom in that period as well to do what they want. No restrictions. Use any sample you wanted.
Yeah,
anything you want, you just go for it. And this song kind of shows this as well in that sense, because it's all like, and I quite like the bit where I don't know, you are right there, so it's a very live thing, like when they start rapping really fast as well.
Yeah.
And you've got to think about it. There's 3 of them, and they've got to be on point as well. They've got to know exactly where they are in the song and all that kind of stuff. And this is a studio album, so they can take their times on doing it. But like live, you've got to be on point and stuff. Like, imagine this song being a really, really great song as well live.
I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, it's like, it sounds like they're just interjecting and ad-libbing, but it's got to be more organised than that.
That is completely and utterly organised. But I've always thought that about what Robbie was saying about nonsense lyrics. Nonsense lyrics, as in they're just funny. That's probably what I mean by that. They don't really mean actually anything. They got more of a cool sounding thing to it. But like, can you imagine sitting down and penning a rap song like this, and just you'd end up going, "I'm not writing that. That's ridiculous. Why would I say that?" You know what I mean? But they do, and they make it sound brilliant as well at the same time. So What You Want? Oh my God, what a classic song! The video is incredible. The whole delivery, I love the megaphone. The track, though, to be fair, when it gets going, it doesn't really change. It's the same thing. It goes on and on, but it doesn't need to. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it is, in my eyes, one of the perfect Beastie Boys song. But it makes me sad that I am going to vote for What You Want, but I want Sound of Science to have a bit of. I know I'll vote for Sound of Science because even though What You Want's in, but it needs some love, so I'm going to give it the love.
Okay,
there we go.
Right.
Even though it 4 Mike D's.
You did give it 4 Mike D's, but it didn't get a proper vote. It didn't get an actual.
So whatever happened to the megaphone as a vocal delivery device? It was big in the 90s, and then it sort of, where's it gone?
I think the Wonder Stuff killed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think English indie killed it, I think.
Very cool.
It was cool until they started doing it. It was like, damn it, not anymore.
Right then, the next track, 3-minute rule. These Something's Got to Give. I'm going to go to Cath for this one first.
Oh, okay.
Drop
right.
it, Cath.
3-minute rule.
Drop it.
Traditional rap, beat nice and simple, lyrics hit hard, sharp as a thimble. Well, my thimble's not sharp. I couldn't tell you the theme, but here's the trick. I was making records, you were sucking your mother's dick. Blondie's Rapture sample, adding that flair. 3 Mike D's out of 5. This one's rare.
Oh, wow.
So that's 3 Mike D's out of 5 for that one, just to confirm. Something's Got to Give. Smooth groove slipping in. Vocals take flight. I'll start again. Had a few beers now.
Rewind.
Groove slipping in. Vocals take flight. Samples whisper secrets on a smoky night. Spliff smoke fills the air. Primal scream in my head. Chill vibes prevail. 3.5 Mike D's. Well said.
That one just nipped it in, didn't it? I think
it did. Yeah.
Just nipped in. Robbie.
All right.
What we got?
So 3-minute rule. We've got 70s cop car cruising vibes at this point. And I honestly, I thought to myself, I don't really care about the lyrics at this point. It's all about the groove. Which is just as well because it is the laziest rap deliveries I think I'd heard from them so far. And when we were talking about the sort of the going around the 3 of them, or one rapping and the other 2 interjecting, Mike D totally runs out of juice on this. It's like then the other 2 is just going, yeah, go on, how long can you go on for? I'm running out. So they're just much more impactful when they're sort of trading lines between them. Musically pretty cool, a lot of dub effects in there, quite enjoyable. Something's Got to Give So I was listening to this on Spotify, and I thought it was a Spotify advert until I looked at it and went, "Oh no, it is the Beastie Boys still." So that totally threw me off. There was a great vocal effect on this, and I can't work out what it is. And I've spotted it before. Chris Cornell used to use it both in Audio Slave and Soundgarden. It's got like I don't know, like a vibrato and a megaphone-ish thing going on. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Also used on Sabbath tracks as well. Very trippy song, far superior, as Cath said. Was it 4 Mike D's for this one?
3-minute rule was 3 Mike D's, and Something's Got to Give was 3.5.
Yes, I'll give it a 3.5, maybe 4 Mike D's. Something got to give for me.
Okay, so
Yeah, so 3-minute rules feels much more laid back with the bass and drums than some of their other stuff. Each member's taking a turn at rapping rather than over rejecting each other. Like you said, I don't know. I just don't know about it. I don't hate the track, but I also don't love it either. It's there and it just is. It doesn't really do much for me at all. Something's Got to Give is totally something different. And it's still laid back, but it's a very different laid back to 3-minute rule. The Beasties get their jazz funk fusion on, and it's like they either couldn't find the samples they wanted, or probably more like we said before, they couldn't afford the samples. So they basically recorded what they were trying to do with the samples, was doing it just because it seems so out of left field compared to a lot on the 2 albums. The lyrics as well, they're so, what's the word? Prophetic? Have I just made up a word?
Prophetic?
Prophetic?
Prophylactic?
Prophylactic? Yeah. Nostradamus-like. I mean,
right.
During the track, the Beasties call for peace between the races. There is fire all around, and warn that something's got to give. And then this was released literally a week before the LA riots. You know,
yeah, well, that's just poor timing.
Poor timing, you reckon? Just too much of a coincidence.
Do you think they did it on purpose?
Yeah, I think so. I think they started it, really. They got to sell those records somehow.
That is true.
I think because 3-minute rule just doesn't really do much to me. I'm trying to really remember it. I can't in my head remember it. And I can remember Something's Got to Give. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Something's Got to Give.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there's no love for Paul's Boutique, I tell you.
There's not a lot, is there?
Well,
I was looking at that.
There's one song.
I'll just say, not yet, there isn't.
Well, okay, that's true. That's true. B-side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And back then they did have B-sides. So
yeah.
Right. So I like 3-minute rule. I like the ideas in there. I like the bass line, and I like that they've got space so they can rap nonsense, not nonsense, whatever you want to say. It's just, I just like the way it's kind of delivered. It's just nice and relaxed. Something Got to Give, though. I've always had a problem with this song. I always found it a little bit boring, a little bit. They're very good at that, but also just a little bit lazy. I don't know. It just seems an easy kind of. You can just imagine them just in rehearsal. And it was like, oh yeah, what you got any lyrics? Yeah, well, I got these little. There's very little lyrics really when you read them. It's just it's not like 3-minute rule, which is a blooming novel. If you read the lyrics through, so there's far more thought and process gone into these lyrics. But I think Something's Got to Give, they're more probably profound, probably relying on the D chord in their head a bit more when they were writing it. So I'm actually going to go for the 3-minute rule just because I just like all the samples in there. I like the bit they mentioned Dragnet, and I don't think I've ever heard a song where they mentioned Dragnet in there before.
There's probably a reason.
Oh, come on, Dragnet was all right. It was okay when we were kids. It was fine. I don't know. I just like but one of my favourite lyrics in there is I'm just chilling like Bob Dylan. I like the way that's delivered. Okay, when you say it out like my accent, it's crap. But the way they deliver it, I think it's perfect, absolutely wonderful. So it's another. I'm not going to use a napalm, but it's a more of a respect vote. I'm going to give that one. So, but Something's Got to Give is the winner of that.
See, the problem with the napalm is that earlier you were outraged, and later maybe you won't be.
I know. You can't retrospectively go back.
Yeah.
No, it is done. It's set in stone. It is done.
Yeah.
It is done. Right then. So the next one is Hey Ladies v Stand Together. And let's go over to Robbie actually for the first one.
Hey ladies. All right.
That's an awesome track.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently this is the second most listened to track for this album on Spotify. So I've noticed, as we've just said, that I was leaning very heavily towards Check Your Head so far in terms of albums. So I was hoping I was going to start getting something to redress the balance between these two albums. So Shake Your Rump being the other one, which for me won the battle. And I'm pleased to report, here comes the funky guitar, here comes the cowbell, here comes some hand claps. Who doesn't love a hand clap? You've got to have an obligatory hand clap. Then a pure funk bass line and a bit of slap around 2 minutes. But again, they don't sit still on it. And the problem is, there's a school of thought that says, if you've got a good groove or a riff, don't overplay it. If it's 8 bars, make it 4 bars, But 2 is pushing it a bit, and it just gets into antsy. Oh, now we're done with that. Let's keep moving. So there's a funny disco auto tune effect later on in it, which I thought was quite good fun. But yeah, really strong track. I liked it. Stand Together. Jesus Christ, there's a bass line and a half in there. And I was almost thinking, are we into Primus area now with the complexity of this bass line? Super complex. And then, of course, how I was reminded of you, Stu, with the inclusion of the saxophone.
But at least they can pull it off, in my opinion.
So, Stand Together. So there's a big build up and there's a bit of a megaphone rap going on. I thought, Cath, this should have been played back in Slime Nights back in the day, but I don't recall that it was. It's almost Butthole Surfers-esque, I thought.
Okay, I'll have to listen to it again.
Yeah. I was guessing that it's a distorted bass guitar doing the lead line. And I thought this would be massive through a big club PA. But again, it's too short. Too many ideas being thrust in at the end, but still very cool. So I was kind of torn at this point. We're getting into sort of much more equal territory, but I'm going to go and I'm going to show some love to Paul's Boutique, and I'm going to go with Hey Ladies.
Hey Ladies.
Good choice. Sorry.
Yes, okay, so Hey Ladies, we've really got a sample-gasm on Hey Ladies, haven't we? I think there's about 20 samples on this track. This definitely would have been around the time the use of samples was being scrutinised in the courts, surely. We're never going to see an album like this, or The Public Anyone we featured in the previous episode, which you can find in our archive. And I think De La Soul's 3 Foot High and Rising fills into that period of those 3 albums as well. All 3 albums are very sample heavy. If you think you hear a sample on this track, then yes, you're probably right. You do. That's how many they've got. Now, either they haven't used too many, he says after mentioning there's about 20 samples, or they are much better at mixing them than Public Enemy, but it never feels too much. So yeah, that's from my thoughts on Hey Ladies. Stand Together. Okay, Houston, we have a problem. If a track utilises a sax sample, does it still count as being a sax?
Yes.
Fortunately, it does, yes.
Yeah, so that intro is painful.
But it doesn't sound like a sax.
No, because it's a badly
Sounds
played.
like a duck beat.
It's a badly played.
Beaten with a brick.
Yeah, it's like of all the sax samples they could have found, they found the worst sax sample.
I don't know. I could find some pretty bad ones. Emma did a good job when she posted that video.
Yeah, but
that ridiculous. Yeah, so
but this actually sounds like it's awfully played. It's not like it's. Not all saxes are well played, but it's like it's got a brick and it's been run over by a steamroller. Wile E. Coyote's come across it, and then it's picked. When he picks it up in the cartoon and it's flat and he tries playing it. That's what it sounds like. But after that, you get quite a lot of industrial sounds throughout. You get the drums, you get the horns, lyrics are very difficult to understand until the end of the last verse. The first verse. And then the power kind of erupts. It feels or sounds like a bit of I got a more Prodigy vibe from it, from the Fat of the Land era. And for that reason, I'm going to go with Stand Together, as it has more of a fuck yeah feel about it.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, totally. It was a hard choice on my side, so...
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a hard choice. I mean, Hey Ladies, I think, is a good example of how to use samples. Because, as I said, it never feels like it's too much. I mean, there's a fucking shed ton there. But, yeah, it probably does suffer from the...
I mean, all of the tracks have got shitloads of samples.
Yeah, but, I mean... Yeah, they do. there's no argument.
But there's some of the way they're mixed, isn't it? And the way they just merge in together, that produced, and they just seem to smooth like.
Yeah, it's
the problem is because they play their own instruments as well. I'm now totally confused by what is actually them playing. All right, so the punk stuff's obvious. I'm thinking Heart Attack Man and stuff like that. That's definitely them playing. But when we got other like the groovy stuff, is that them playing? Is that because it could be?
Yeah,
so it is. It is.
Yeah. So we're.
I think it's more a case of Paul Boutique is more sample heavy, and Check Your Head is more them playing heavy.
Well, in that case, the next round is going to be. I'm going to be delighted. That statement holds true.
Cath, what's your thoughts?
Right, Hey Ladies, guitar sample pleasant, got that nice tone. Heard it in some tracks, but the source unknown. Cowbell kicks in halfway through the song. 4 Mike D's earned, can't go wrong. Stand Together, sax players in. This track's got a grip. Southside groove bumping rhythm on a trip. Mystery sample, whole sample leaves me stumped. Cool vibes hold strong, but something's unjumped. 3 Mike D's, catchy, but the source is slumped.
Excellent.
You know what? I tell if Cath gets a call saying, "Yeah, you heard the podcast," I wonder if you wouldn't mind spitting some of your flow on our latest track.
Do you want to get rid of these losers and get some hacks, on the track? Then come on over.
Me, Robbie, and Stu are like the warm up acts that you don't pay to see at the gig.
Right, in my view, Hey Ladies.
Yeah, well done. Great. Let's move on. Next track.
Oh, come on. What a fantastic intro to the song as well. It's just so funky, and the cowbells, and the... have you seen the video as well? Where they're in like a big, massive platform shoes and 1970s flares, and they're just walking around the pool looking really cool. It's awesome. It's so good. And the whip effects as well. Need more whip effects.
I used to imagining that.
It is just an awesome, happy, funny, maybe lyrically a bit iffy, as in maybe the subject matter, that girls and things like that. Maybe they couldn't release a song like that now, or they probably wouldn't even like License to Ill. They probably wouldn't even touch half of that album, The Barge Pole, now.
I would hope not.
Like the Song of Girls and things like that. Be like, oh no, we better not even do that. So, but it's still a really good, funky song, and it's just a product of the time, and the samples are just wonderful. They all meld together really nice. Stand Together, I am going for Hey Ladies, by the way, and I don't really know what to stand together. I mean, it's good.
It's a track.
It's a good song. It's a good track. It is very heavy. The duck being smashed in the face with a brick could have done without, the saxophone bit. But I don't know. It kind of works in one way as well. It's quite punky the way they measure in with all the rest of the track as well. And it all kind of flows. But out the two, I don't know. This is what Si said. This is an example of what you can do with samples, and it is absolutely perfect. So that gets my vote.
Nice. I'm just thinking, we really ought to hold a competition for people to submit what they consider to be the worst saxophone solos in history.
That's a good idea.
To perhaps we could get a prize going, and Stu can judge what is the worst.
Cath can write them a rap. A personalised rap. So they can use it on their answer machine and stuff. I'm not in. I'm out right now.
I'd also like to suggest something similar in that people suggest the best use of the cowbell.
Oh.
Yeah, and it can't be "Don't Fear the Reaper." That's bad.
Stay
away.
I think we've already had the best use of the cowbell with Will Ferrell interrupting Green
Oh
Day.
yeah, that video.
Yeah.
So is that the second Paul's Boutique track we've got going on now?
me?
Yes, it is. Out of out of 2.
Yeah.
Lovely poster.
I think I'm on 100% hit rate today, but we might all be. So there we go.
No,
Right.
we're not all.
So right, the next song is "Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun" vs POW or POW, however you want to say it. I'm going to go straight to Simon on this one.
Okay, looking down the barrel gun. What is that guitar riff? Is it a sample or is it a Beasties original? I don't know. Like we were just saying, it's like for the album it's on, I would say it has to be a sample, but I don't know what it's a sample of, which then leans me towards it being a Beasties original. Either way, it really appeals to me. I do like it. It's almost a bridge between License to Ill and Ill Communication. And it feels really right and what I want out of a Beasties track. So there's that in mind. POW, we have a Red Hot Chili Peppers-esque funk fusion. Beasties' original instrumental. Which, again, is a great palate cleanser, but it really shows off them playing as musicians and how good they are as musicians. I just don't know how many of them we need on one album. Because it's like, how many palate cleansers do you need? Although I do really like it. It's a hard one. I think I'm going to go with Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun just because as soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, I really like this.
Cool.
Whereas POW, I do still really like. I'm kind of contradicting myself here for what I'm picking.
They're both pretty good, huh?
Yeah, you both like them.
Yeah,
it's fine. You're allowed to like.
It's so hard when you do. I mean, they're very different. You know, when you get two songs that are very similar, and it's like I can't choose because they're very similar. These are very, very different, and it's like I just don't know what to pick. I think I'm going to go with my original vote of Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun.
Excellent. Okay. Cath.
Okay, Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun. Forget the chicken. This ain't no greasy spoon. This track's rocking beast straight out of ZZ Top's room. Gritty guitar riff gonna grab you by the throat. Energy pumping, production smoking, ain't no joke. Might be my album favourite, blows the others out of sight. 5 out of 5 Mike D's. This track's pure dynamite.
Oh, look at that.
Drop the bomb.
All of the D's.
Wow, this one's going to get more than 5 out your school rating of 5. Okay, here we go.
So, POW, funky JB blast, John's on fire tonight. Tempo switch up, groove takes flight. Spliff must have vanished, lost in the haze, but the funk keeps pumping in a finger-snapping daze. 4 mics.
Nice.
Oh,
I think we got a new format for the show, to be honest.
Does Cath have to rap everything, or does she have to do it in the style of the artist?
Yeah, wait till we do the death metal episodes. That'll be awesome. Sorry. No, we're Robbie. Sorry, Robbie.
So looking down the barrel of a gun, so the intro drum beat, I was like, I've heard this before. Where have I heard it? And down the rabbit hole I went. Left Field use it on the Song of Life. But then I couldn't work out, did Left Field steal it from the Beastie Boys? Did Beastie Boys already steal it from somebody else? Is it someone else's track that everyone's stealing from?
It's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
I know. But welcome back to the guitar riffs on this one. And even some pinch harmonics in there, which make me think it wasn't sampled because there weren't many artists doing pinch harmonics in 89, apart from maybe Prong. And I don't think it's the Prong riff. So could be themselves. They did play the guitar and the bass themselves on this. Whether the riff is their own, I don't know. Of course, later covered by Anthrax. So, a rock rap crossover. Very much the pioneers here. I love the intro. And then the lyric, it was like the Beastie Boys version of Judas Priest. There you go.
Oh my God, what a reference.
I know. So POW or POW, not sure which way round. It's like chalk and cheese, different band. This it's like if I didn't know these were the Beastie Boys and you just given them to me and said, which band do you prefer? I'd think I was listening to two different things. And musically, this sounds more like sort of the funk style that would inspire groups like The Egg or someone like that. And it was at this point, we've discussed already that they had side projects and stuff. I said to myself, did they ever do whole albums like this or have side projects? Because although it's as Si said, it's a palate cleanser, a couple of minutes long, you could really explore way more of this, a couple of good lead lines, and you could have a whole 5 to 6 minute song, but it loses because it's too short. So looking down the barrel of the gun for the win for me.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Now, it's interesting you should say that because they did actually make a compilation album with all their instrumental tracks on all the albums they did, and they put them all in one album.
Cool.
So, and that was a great album, actually.
What's that called?
They actually called it Sound of Science.
Was it under the name of the Beasties, or did they put it under another name?
No, it's under Beastie Boys.
Okay.
Well, I've got the album, it says Beastie Boys, so whether they did something else with it, I don't know. I'm sure they've released it on other stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, POW, it's a great. The drumming in that is, to me, that when I heard that song, I was thinking they can do that on their instruments. Them,
yeah,
the band I love, and little Stu's mind even blown more. It's just so funky and like that. Oh, that's such a hard drum beat as well to do. Oh, well, it's for me. I couldn't do it anyway. But it's really effective and all that. But it slows right down, and then the dirty like clean guitar sound. That's an ironic. Does that work? A dirty clean guitar sound?
Yeah,
it does. It does in my head. So, but looking down the barrel of the gun, it's a great start, isn't it? And
yeah.
Great such a good song.
Guitar sample and all the samples, but I like the way they also rap all at the same time.
Yeah,
they're all delivering the lyrics at the same. Well, not all the way through, but like on many parts, and so you got that 3-part harmony, but it's not harmony, but they're over the top, and you can clearly hear each member.
I would love it if it was a 3-part harmony rap.
That's
a genre unexplored, I think.
Well, if MCA was still around, maybe they would have explored that. I don't know. So, but it is going to be unanimous. It is going to be looking down the barrel of the gun. I mean, POW is a fantastic song, and I love them both. Actually, I love both albums. Simple as that, really. But it is a hard one. So. But I am definitely going to go with a consensus on this one. Nice. Looking down the barrel of the gun is for the win.
I mean, if you didn't pick it, I'd have to play the Napalm Death, and I'm not even the host.
Like a future Napalm Death card. Well, you say as well that they haven't explored it, Stu, and they might have done if MCA hadn't passed on. But once they listen to this podcast and they hear Cath's rhymes,
that is true, and they go, "Well,
terrible rapping."
Yeah, you know what, boys? It's been enough years. MCA, we're still looking.
We can come back as the Beastie People,
but we got MC Cath now, and she can rock the mic, rock the mic right.
Nobody wants that.
We do. Right, the next track, Car Thief vs the Maestro. Let's go to Robbie first.
Okay, all right. So let's go with Car Thief first. Yeah, again, it reminded me of Public Enemy now because we're getting into things of, have I heard this before on this track or another track? Did they steal it from there? Did they create it? I'm not sure. Who am I? So there's like a sort of falling, scratched note that sounds like I've heard it somewhere before. The Car Thief's really hard to describe in terms that I've not already used. It doesn't sound like the others musically, although it's got funk, groove, rap, and all the other things in it. But they move around so much within the framework. You just don't really know the Beastie Boys until you've sat down and listened to the Beastie Boys about all the things that they could come out with. And I'll quantify that by saying that the funny thing about the Beastie Boys is the rapping is actually the least impressive thing about them. Yet it's the thing that they're most well known for. Because at this point, they're starting to actually come out with things that are really? If someone had played this to me and said, hey, and I said, oh, what's this? It's pretty cool. It's the Beastie Boys. What? Really? Is it? So, yeah, getting very impressed with this album at this point, I have to say. Versus the Maestro, which has an unnecessary intro because they've only got 2 minutes and 52 seconds to get this track done. So there's more megaphone rapping, but there's too much starting and stopping for me on this one, on the Maestro. And at the 2 minute mark, oh my God, the Rage Against the Machine blueprint. They must have listened to this and gone, we will make a band based on this. So, yeah, there's just, I think there's too much stylistic mashup to get the flow going a bit on the Maestro. It's like everything on that track is here in an attempt to get it refined to create the song Sabotage for me. So, yeah, it's Car Thief for the win all day long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Si?
Yeah, Cath. I mean, what is it with music that makes criminal activities sound so compelling and possibly appealing?
Yeah.
It's just so cool,
I
man.
just want to play GTA now.
Yeah, I mean, most of the lyrics revolve around recreational drug use, classic hip-hop boasting disses, and pop culture references. However, what sells this song to most of all to me is the enthusiastic delivery of the Beasties. It's easy to hear how much fun they're having, and the results are really infectious. It's a pleasure to follow along with the loose narrative. I mean, the song was very much before the Beasties matured a little and tended to avoid potentially offensive lyrical extremes, but it is of its time. Maestro is a bit of a strange one. It's not a bad song, but there are other songs on these albums, let alone their other albums, that just do it better. It's also just not that memorable. And as such, I'm going to go with Car Thief.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. Cath?
Yeah, I just want to quote. You don't know the Beastie Boys until you've sat down and listened to the Beastie Boys.
Listen, I had a ghostwriter in for that bit.
Right, so Carly. It's pumping, funky beat in my ride. Turned to a clown, carjacker got denied. Fumbled the keys, sent him tumbling to the street. Funky town hustle ain't stealing my heat. 3 Mike D's on that.
Oh, that's a sharp finish. Boom.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fade out involved there.
No.
The Maestro. Funky bass thumping, guitar riff a delight. Unexpected ladies screaming, take flight. Beastie Boy Maestros control the vibe. Witty rhymes on point, keep the party alive. Subject ain't ladies, but the power they hold. 4 Mike D's, this track's a story untold.
All right.
Ooh, okay.
There we go.
Cath's gone with the
Ooh.
Maestro then.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine track in my opinion. Right, for my 2 cents worth.
But Cath, did you understand the track by listening to the Beastie Boys?
Well, see, I didn't fully understand the Beastie Boys until I actually
Just
sat
go and
down
listen to the Beastie
and
Boys?
listened to the
That's
Beastie
right.
Boys.
If anyone learns anything from this podcast, it should be that.
You know, I tell you, if you want to learn about the Beasties, if you listen to Take That, you're not going to get it.
No.
No, you need to listen to the Beasties to understand the Beasties.
No, you have to sit down and listen to the Beasties.
Oh,
It's no good standing up either or walking around, for
Right,
example.
Gotta sit down.
Right. I will flex now. Right, Car Thief. I like the way this is all delivered and the whistle. It's just great. And right, you're saying
Another one of Stu's brilliant instrumentation impersonation.
Listeners, how can you
Yeah, I
resist?
can really get into that.
yeah, I know that one. Oh, they didn't play instruments on Paul's Boutique at all. It was all samples. Okay, I've heard it a couple of times going, oh yeah, I don't know whether they played this one or that. No, the Dust Brothers did all the engineering, and then
we need to fact check looking down the barrel of a gun then, because there are sources saying that they played all that themselves. So I'm going to go back and check that out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, please do, because I don't want to be lynched by
no one wants
everybody
to be
in the world.
by
No, not this person. Anyway.
Yeah.
My saxophone.
Yeah.
That's the worst kind of lynching.
It is.
I know it's a good song. I don't know, I find though Cath does go on a bit too long now. Where Maestro, I understand Robbie's issues that it's a bit too short, but it's in and it's out. It needs to deliver where it needs to deliver, and it just does it so well as well. And I actually like the intro. I like the telephone conversation at the start. I just think it works. And the way, and then he just scratches out, and then he goes into the. I'm not going to do the bass line because obviously.
Oh,
Go on, Stu.
It's quite angry, that bass line.
It is, isn't it?
No, but the song is angry to think about it. Oh, the song is quite angry to think about it.
Like Jesus
I mean,
Jones.
it is quite an angry song, and I quite like it for that. It's like, yeah, you motherfuckers, and all that. I see you looking at me and saying, it's an angry track. So anyway,
can you be angry and constipated?
Well, what do you think's made you angry?
I just wondered.
I suppose you could be.
Those,
it might help.
Yeah,
it might help being angry and constipated. It might help with the certain
maybe
delivery,
with
the payload.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry.
My vote is actually going to the Maestro.
Oh,
so that is a 2-2 split. So by default, that bad boy's the winner.
Wow.
Okay.
I do actually think it's a better track, but I do really like Cath though. So this whole thing is torn for me.
You just don't want to encourage people to be criminals, do you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Crime doesn't pay.
If you don't pick Car Thief, then people won't know who the Beastie Boys are until they listen to the Beastie Boys.
Till they've sat down.
So, Of course.
So,
I did.
See, if they thieved the car, they would be sitting down driving away the car.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool.
Right then. Next track is What Comes Around and Groove Holmes.
Groove Holmes,
Yes.
Sherlock's lesson home, brother.
Sigh. Drop me your thoughts.
Okay, so what comes around? Is that the drums from Led Zeppelin's Moby Dick? If it's not,
At this point,
it probably could be. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you again, it's one of those things. If you think you've heard the sample, then you probably have heard the sample. I mean, if it isn't Moby Dick from Led Zeppelin, then later on it's certainly the guitar intro from Alice Cooper's "It's Hot Tonight." I mean, it's golden age hip hop with being sample-tastic. I mean, this is what this album was lauded for, was their use of samples. It's got typical Beastie lyrics. By that, I mean it is between making sense and having the nonsense. I mean, for example, funky, like penicillin. Okay? I mean, how funky is that type of medication? Funky, like Panasaurus. Again, what the fuck is a Panasaurus?
What is a Panasaurus?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked that, Robbie, because nowadays it's a rainbow-infused dinosaur from the LGBTIGA plus community, but I don't think it was when this was recorded.
You think the Beastie Boys inspired that?
Possibly, maybe. I mean, I think it was purely written so that they could mention the one-episode Flintstones character, Doris the Finkosaurus.
It could be. But also, since they wrote, "Hey ladies," that might not have gone down too well. I don't know.
No, this is it.
I mean, it's just hard to hear you say "Hey, ladies" without the.
Yeah, so, Stu,
Oh.
right, okay, if you can time this now. Stu, Robbie, if you can just get your ducks in the line here. Go. No, they're not doing it. I was thinking Stu would do the do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
What would Robbie do?
He's hey ladies.
That's
Sorry, it's ruined all the time. Sorry. This is why we're not professional musicians or
podcasters.
Or podcasters.
Where were we? Okay, Groove Holmes is another funk fusion instrumental reminiscent of elevator music with added Hammond organ. I mean, this isn't really a fair battle. I mean, really, I mean, we don't need another palate cleanser, so what comes around gets my vote.
All right.
Go on then, Cath. It seems like you were up and ready then.
Oh, okay. I was just grabbing a drink.
Well,
Right.
there's no time for drinking. It's the time for dropping the beats.
Funky Town stays, tracks a bit vanilla. Then Rapunzel drops a line, oh so scandalous. Underwear climbing, piano saves the day. Gritty beat pumps, scratches light the way. Two Mike D's, it's a funky fairy tale detour.
Only two
Okay.
Mike D's, okay.
Only two Mike D's for that one. Groove Holmes, keyboard deja vu, add rock on the keys. Funky tribute pumping, missing the MCs. Groove Holmes in spirit, jazzy and tight, but instrumental jams miss the vocal fight. Three Mike D's, funky detour, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so a low scoring winner.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Robbie?
Is it my go?
It is your go.
Marvellous. Right, so what comes around is the blend doesn't work here for me.
Just that's it.
Just no. So there's a piano riff. No, the piano riff doesn't do anything for me. And at this point, it's like, because we started off and comparing the two albums, we had Check Your Head, Surging Ahead, and then Paul's Boutique, not. Then Paul's Boutique comes into its own. Now we're back to an album that's like an engine that keeps trying to fire up. Sometimes it roars into life, as in the last three tracks for me, and other times it sputters and collapses. Musically, is this standard hip hop beats, or is it later refined into things that bands like Cypress Hill would use, where you've got that looped backing track that they're rapping over the top of? So are these guys doing the blueprint at this point, not knowing from my own experience what sort of came before this? So I don't know. It's interesting. Historically, could be a pivotal, but Groove Holmes, Dutch beach bar in Egypt, mid-afternoon, just finished diving for the day. It's cocktail hour. That's all you need to know about this track. It's funky as shit instrumental goodness with added bongo. Groove Holmes for the win.
You can't really argue with that, can you?
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt. Well, it's a very loose paper bag argument, but here we go. What comes around? I don't know. Again, this is another one of those songs where the feeling of the track and the way they rap over it as well. It kind of works in that sense, and I don't know. I just quite like the nonsensical. That's a word.
Nonsensical?
Oh, it is now.
Yes, it is.
It is
a word.
now.
It is now.
I'm
Nonsensical.
claiming it. It's my word. I just like the way that it all flows together. Now, Groove Holmes, it's very impressive and it's really good, but I do find it a bit boring when I've got to now compare the two tracks together. And so I'm not like thinking of the album content. And I think what comes around is just the better track. It's more interesting. It has more going for it.
Hasn't got a bongo in it though.
It hasn't got a bongo, no, admittedly. It hasn't, but it hasn't got a sax in it, which the other one hasn't either, but that's a good plus anyway. Just
Don't
be
worry,
equal plus.
because soon there will be another saxophone.
Sagtastic. Yeah. So I'm going to vote for What Comes Around. And that, again, makes it a 2-2 split. So I will pick the winner, and it will be What Comes Around.
No!
Good choice.
Well, you don't like cocktail hour. That's your problem.
So the next track is Shadrach v Live at PJ's. So who wants to take on this biblical hot potato? Oh, Simon, there you go. All yours.
me.
Okay, so live at PJ's. Live at PJ's live. No, you're not. That's that's totally a fake live environment. However, we do have some hand claps in there. And the way the song ends should totally have been the end of the album. Except it wasn't. Shadrach's second single from the album, with a nice Sly and the Family Stone sample at the beginning. Not sure which track, but it's there. It's a sample. I've heard it. It's on that album. It's definitely a sample. And I recognise the guitar strum too, so someone will hopefully say which one it is, which I'm sure is going to be Robbie, he's massacring there. Again, it's a very sample-heavy track because it's from that album. I'm not sure it fits into the too much category at all. I honestly think the Beasties were better at knowing when the track was enough with their samples than Public Enemy were. Enthusiastic lyric delivery from the Beasties again. Yeah, you can literally just tell they're having fun. And that's probably what makes some of the Beasties songs and tracks so good, is that you can tell they're having fun. And you just want to have fun with them. You know, whether that be throwing eggs at people or stealing cars, you know, you just want to be a Beastie Boy. Two very different tracks, but I'm going to go with Shadrach.
Oh. Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Cath, what we got?
Okay, so with Shadrach, we've got Funk Blast, Chair Can't Hold Me Still, Female Vocals and the rappers switching, pure thrill. Energy pumping makes my body ignite. 5 Mike D's, this track's pure dynamite.
Oh, boom!
Live at PJ's. Live track on trial? Nah, this ain't a crime scene. Chill melody lays low, funky bass keeps it mean. Beastie Boys spitting fire, vocals hitting hard, but instrumental breaks come in, a welcome discard. 3 out of 5 mics, this ain't no studio trick. Live or produced, this jam's legit, a certified sick.
Wow. Cath, you've missed the calling, mate. You've got a career exit strategy right here. I've never heard the like of it.
Go on
Wow.
then. What beats can you drop then, Robbie?
Well, I've got to say, so Shadrach, pure 70s disco music with Beastie Boys rapping and soulful female vocals. What's not to like? Plus a wonderful saxophone line for Stu to enjoy. What more could you want? Huh? See how I think of you when we're doing these?
You do.
Stu? There you go. So live at PJ's, we got some wah-soaked guitar, a new instrument I've invented. Wah-soaked guitar, organ blasts. I like the echo vocals at the end of each line. We got cowbell double taps on it. I think the vocal delivery on the other one, Shadrach, is a bit harsh compared to the music, whereas with this one, it just syncs up beautifully, really well. I just think it's got a better blend between the musics and the vocals. But I thought that both were great tracks. I thought Live at PJ's just wanted to make me shimmy a bit more, and I think that's probably due to the cowbell.
Did it?
It did, yeah, probably due to the cowbell. So I'm gonna buck the trend, and I'm gonna go Live at PJ's.
Oh wow, good choice. Either one of them, really. I mean, they've got their own merits. Right. Does anybody know the biblical flavour of Shadrach? There's a biblical story. They tell us. I can't actually pronounce these other names. So Mushak and Anigo. No,
it's not Diablo.
It's some biblical thing, and it is. It's actually a biblical story. That it's like one of their own ones. What they've done, and they're not religious, by the way, at all. But obviously, it's a homage to 1970s and science. Have you seen the video, by the way, to it? Incredible. It's like watercolor. It's like them just on stage, but then the artists have gone over with watercolor, and it's just incredible. Probably a bit like Ha Ha, but more colourful.
They could afford the paint.
They could afford the paint. Yeah, that was it. So the drums, the samples also come from Funky Drummer from James Brown. Like, I mean, what respectable hip hop song around about then didn't sample James Brown Funky Drummer? And Never Let Him Down, as I say, I Don't Love You was a breakdown of Bill Jack. I don't know. I've just read that one out, so I don't fully. But full of samples, as we know, Buzz Boutique laid in with them. You'll go down a rabbit hole. You go, is that a sample? It probably is, like I said.
Yeah.
This one, I think it just flows so nice. It's just, this is a great live song as well. I've seen them play this live, and it's just good. It's just the whole feeling, the vibe of it. Live at PJ's. I love Live at PJ's. I got exactly the same thoughts as. Oh, by the way, sorry. I'll go back to Shadrach. Saxophone doesn't bother me on this one. Yes,
No.
I'm a hypocrite. I must be, but it's not like them, like Kenny Loggins kind of
you're so
saxophone
selective.
going on, and on and on and on. It's just there. It's just like there's a sample, boom, boom, and then it's in and out and done, and they use it very effectively. Be better if it wasn't on there and it was a Hammond organ in its place, but hey, we can't have everything, can we?
Yeah, what is it with saxophones? We've come across so many
I know.
saxophones.
I know.
on this podcast.
They're so
Well,
goddamn cool.
it's the 80s. That's what the problem was.
But is
the
it
80s.
because now that we've heard them once or twice and we're like, we really fucking hate saxophones? It's like our ears are now tuned
Could
for
be.
like these songs. It's like, is that a fucking saxophone?
Poison.
Yeah.
Right, Live at PJ's. I like its funkiness. I like the real. It's got a great vibe again, and the rapping on it is really good as well. Really effective the way they deliver it. This is such a hard one because I've got the deciding vote here.
Yeah. Well, why don't we let's leave some dead air while you think about it.
Okay. Oh no, and I can do a little humming tune of a Beastie
Yeah, why don't you just do some
people
bass
love
lines,
that.
Stu?
They love me doing that. Oh, this is a tough one. Right,
not.
I haven't got a
It's
coin.
not.
I can't even flick a coin.
What did you go for, Si?
I went for Shadrach.
And Cath?
I also went for
Shadrach.
Shadrach.
And it's a great song, and that's the thing. I'm really torn. You know what? I'm gonna go for Live at PJ's, but it really hurts me because I want both of them to go through.
It doesn't work like that, Stu.
I know.
You're gonna pick one of them.
We've been doing this long enough.
I was there at the meeting. I know. So Live at PJ's the winner.
Oh.
I know.
We force him to
So,
make a decision, and he makes the wrong one.
Yeah.
Right,
these are the
so-
final three.
The final three, and this is the first one where we've had to take it from another album, which is 33% Gold, which is from the Japanese edition of Paul's Boutique. These Professor Booty. So
That's
I
a
would
great
like to
name.
hear Cath's thoughts on this first.
Strap in, everyone.
33% God. Asterisk.
Oh, did I say gold? Sorry.
It says
I
God
just-
on here.
No, it is, but I think I said gold. Sorry. Anyway, carry on.
Right, China squeak, 80s flashback in my ear. Funky beat knocks, scratches crystal clear. Bagpuss yawns digital, samples on point. This track's a whole buffet, 5 mics, no disappoint.
Ooh. Right in there.
Professor Booty, Corey in the rhyme, funny tribute, but falls behind this time. Less punch than the others, a lyrical retreat. 2 Mike D's, respect the flow, but not the heat.
Ooh, that's very low scoring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right then, Si.
Okay, so 33% God is very much an example of Mike D's DJ Skiles.
Skulls.
DJ Skulls.
Skiles. His skills as well. He has them. Lots of 70s samples, especially from the movie Car Wash. It's got a funky waka waka guitar.
Nice.
Was this sampled for Block Rocking Beats?
Probably.
It's got that sort of feel to it. It's totally on the wrong place in the album, though. I mean, I know it's one of the ones that we're adding, but this is actually where it did appear in the album as well. It was right at the end. To me, because this would have been a better track than To All the Girls. Even though it would have been a good opener. Professor Booty, though. An opening sample that sounds like it comes from some movie. Who knows what? Someone knows what. Someone will probably tell us what. Feel free to leave YouTube comments as to what it is. The samples then hit and are then married with the Beastie's signature pass the mic style lyric delivery. The lyrics are interesting. They sway between the nonsense, the genius, and the ooh, different time. For example, 'cause I'm the master blaster, drinking up the Shasta. My voice sounds sweet 'cause it has to. Nonsense. You get the booming system, but it's sloshing out doo-doo. You think it's chocolate milk, but it's watered down yoo-hoo. Nonsense.
Yeah, not great.
Writing rhymes to me is like Popeye to spinach. Now, I did like that one. But one big oaf who is faker than plastic, the dictionary definition of the word spastic.
Oh, yeah,
different time.
different times. I know.
And it's like when you hear that, it's for nowadays, you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
I mean, it's a little bit offensive, but it's not Katy Perry.
It's not. It's not Katy Perry. I think it's because they don't hide behind the fact of being like proponents of that type of person. Like Katy Perry's like, I'm all for LGBTQ. Yes, you're gay. Like the Beasties don't have that. But yeah, it's still a different time. I don't think they would probably do that song.
They would definitely not do that. No,
that's just
or they replace the lyric with something else.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, it's just cancelled.
You got to just sit down and listen to them.
Yeah, that's it.
You do have to do that.
Yeah,
you do. It's just like you can't just make the decision. You've got to sit down and listen to the Beasties to understand the Beasties. I think everyone has to hear Professor Booty. Even with some of its lyrical choices, it's one of those songs that define both the genre and the Beasties themselves. So I'm gonna go with Professor Booty.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Robbie?
So, well, interesting because the word spastic is in the Oxford Dictionary and it means characterized by hypertonic muscles. So the fact that it's the connotation of the word that's the problem, not the word itself, if used in the correct context.
Yeah, because it's not the correct context they're using it in at all, is it?
Is it not? Right, okay. Because if it's a muscle spasm, then it's... Anyway, I just thought I'd refer to the Oxford English Dictionary or the Webster Dictionary there to make sure we were on the right track. However, so... 33% God. So for the past 2 tracks, I liked Groove Holmes and Live at PJ's, and 33% God, which is on the other album. If you put those 3 together, it's got a real nice flow to them, which was instantly endearing to me because we were starting to get away from the, hey, let's ram this idea in. Now let's go over here. Now let's go over here. So it was just flowing a bit more. There's a lovely orangutan soaring sound.
Punching a baboon.
It's a baboon being punched.
Which we always enjoy.
Yes.
There's some hilariously overcooked drum rolls, which reminded me of Brian Mantia or Brain, who used to play for Primus and Guns N' Roses, who would particularly enjoy that because he loved just doing a nice groovy beat and then just doing some really stupid drum roll in the middle, which would just amuse him, and then go back to the really funky beat again. So there's also, I think it's a wah sawtooth wave sound as well, which is pretty cool. Now, we've talked about Stuart's propensity for hating fade outs, but are there things on the other side that can be too short as an ending to also grate on the ear? Because this one stops. There's no stopping distance here. It's from whatever miles per hour to
a brick wall.
It just happened. Yeah, it's just gone. So yeah, that did jar a bit on me. Professor Booty, the intro guy. I was thinking, is this Cheech and Chong? Because Chico's mentioned, but he sounds like Top Cat. Hey, you there. And that just instantly just threw me off.
What a reference!
I know. Well, listen to it again. It sounds like Top Cat when he's talking to the whoever the cop is that's always hassling him. So I didn't like this as much as 33% God, to be honest, because I like it when they take a break from the rapping and go full instrumentals. And I think that's because it was new to me that they did this, and I just found it really endearing, so I wanted to hear more of it. Although Professor Booty's got some very cool echo effects on the vocals, which again make things sound kind of spacey at the end of each of the MC's verses. So yeah, I was torn a bit because I did like the top cat bit at the beginning of that one, but I'm going to go with 33% God because those drum rolls just cracked me up. I thought they were really good, but like slightly inappropriate. And then we'll go back to the cool bit. So yeah, 33% God I thought was good.
I have to say, I don't remember the "fuck you, man" in Top Cat, but
I thought that was an episode that they just hadn't aired.
Got to get the imported version.
And it was Officer Dibble.
Yes.
If it was Officer what?
Officer
Dibble.
Dibble.
Officer Dibble, that was it. Yeah. Yeah, excellent.
Right, so 36% God. This, believe it or not, does not do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a amalgamation and a rehash of all their tracks put in without lyrics. It's the kind of a thing what you'd have as the DJ set where you play as a backing track for all the DJs, for MCs to rap over it, or it's something what you hear before a gig starts. You know, you got the slow incidental music, or not slow, but you know, the very low music in the background, and it's okay. It does its thing, but there's nothing in there which is like, again, comparing the two tracks. Well, my vote is Professor Booty. It's just day and night better in every way. It's just there's more. Okay, we've got this really on. There's loads of ideas in 33% God, of course, but they're all ideas they've already explored on the album.
Yeah.
There is nothing actually new in those. They've just got no lyrics. That's the only difference. Where Professor Booty, it's a whole new song, and the way they deliver it is really good. And I'm glad that you picked up on the effect there. Was it you, Robbie?
Of course, it was me.
Yeah, on the effects. It was Si, wasn't it? It was Si. And that works really well as well, especially the headphones. It just the way they just bounces around. And okay, the couple of choice words, of course, but I do think it's. But and I don't think they even meant it in the horrible negative connotations what we all have it in anyway. But I can't speak for them.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Yeah,
So therefore,
But
that's for them to defend, not me.
It was a word that at the time that would have been made was used.
Yes,
quite freely.
Yes, most definitely. But I just think there's loads more ideas
in the UK, not necessarily in America.
Yes,
very
true.
Perhaps we're labouring this too much.
Maybe. But we are English and looking through an English lens. So what can we say really? So, I don't know, like the things where you go, if you touch me, you'll get shot, and that's awesome. Okay, maybe not the best lyrics in the world, but like the way it goes with the track, it's again, Beastie Boys are more. It's not style over substance, but it's just. They're cool. That's just cool.
They just got the attitude.
But you know that I think that lyric really does work because was it before it? Because if you touch me, you'll get shot because I'm electric.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that does work.
Yeah, it does.
I'm so gonna use that at the next gig.
That sound like Electric Circus when you do it. Then.
So my vote will have to go to Professor Booty. I do think it's the better track. I mean, it's a shame. 30% God, I'd hear it. We'd love it if it was just been played before a gig, you know, like the low music in there before the band starts, or whatever. So Professor Booty for the win.
All right.
Okay.
So
I was starting to go off the boil with picking the winning tracks here. I've got to say, I was doing really well at the start.
Well, you got two now.
Yeah,
you got the last two to go. So let's dish yourself in 89, these in threes. And I'm interested in Robbie's thoughts first.
All right. So dish yourself in 89. We just talked about 33% God being a rehash of a load of other stuff. So the fact that this starts off with the Hey Ladies holler, is this a remix of Hey Ladies? So I tried to think of it in its own right. We got more orangutan punching, which is nice, but faster this time, which is also nice. Lots of cowbells and rhythmic striking of something or other. I don't know what. There's some good ideas in this track and some great grooves. But again, we seem to be listening to several radio stations at once. And that is grating a little bit on me at this point.
It's like walking into a market, isn't it? On a Sunday market where one store's got one radio station
Yeah, and you just walk between them, and the Beastie Boys have just recorded that as they walk through. That'll do. So in threes, great start. It sounds like the perfect 70s chase scene music with a great drumming ending.
Are we back in the cop car?
That's all I need. Yeah, back in the cop car. We've just finished our donuts, thrown our coffee out the window, and
We've got the call.
We've got the
Got
call,
the call.
and we'll take it. Officer Dibble's in trouble, so we better get over there. And as such, because it's a track in its own right, and the other one, I just couldn't get away. Is this a remix? Are they just rehashing it? So yeah, in threes, easy win for me.
Right, excellent, good choice. Cath.
Right, Diss Yourself in 89, remix soup, past tracks on repeat, cowboys clanging, Tarzan screaming in the heat. Not as fresh, but the funk keeps it tight. Rum in my hands, dance floor in my sight. Ballroom blitz out of nowhere, partial surprises. 4.5 Mike D's, this beat hypnotizes.
Ooh, okay. It's quite high.
So I thought that was pretty good, that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So in threes, track ends with a drum solo, kind of fun. But the whole song, meh, just another one. Heard this beat before, ain't nothing new. Decent vibes, but filler, that's the true. 2 out of 5 Mike D's, that's a score. Catchy, maybe, but forgettable for sure.
Wow.
I didn't expect that diss track. My God.
Yeah, that's
taking on the MCs now, aren't you?
Track.
Look
Brilliant.
at that. Sorry?
Yeah, I mean, I can't follow any of that. It's like, I mean, you two have pretty much like summed up my notes for both of those. I mean, yeah, it's Ballroom Blitz, isn't it? That sample that's in there that just comes out of nowhere.
Is it?
I mean, let's get Dish Yourself in 89 out of the way. It's another Mike D DJ masterclass, but again, it's an added track and it suffers from something that one of the Public Enemy tracks that we listen to suffers from. And it's the Beasties sampling themselves. So now at this point, I don't know if I'm hearing samples or fresh instrumentation.
It's turned into Inception.
It is. It's the Inception track of the Beasties. Okay. I said, or if it's fresh instrumentation, I know it's not fresh instrumentation on this track because it's the Beasties and it's a Paul's Boutique track. So there's not going to be no freshness there at all. In Freeze, it's a very funky instrumental track, which, although sounds familiar, is live instruments played by the Beasties, and again proves that they are actually musicians, which, like we said before, is a fact that's often either forgotten or simply not known about these guys until you sit down, damn it, and listen to the Beasties. So, how am I going to call this?
It's important to sit down and listen to them. Yeah.
I mean, how do you call it? Do you pick the track that showcases Mike D's skills, which should always...
No, you pick the track which is better than the other track.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing.
Well, there's that. I mean, you can highlight Mike D, or you can highlight the fact that these three guys are not just little hooligans that wear their baseball caps backwards and want to party and are willing to fight for that right. I mean, I think Mike D's skills have been showcased many times throughout these two albums, so I'm going to go with In Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mine's going to be very short because this is basically both songs don't have any lyrics really to speak of. They Dish Yourself 89's just got Hey Ladies, but like again, no, it's like 33. God, it's nothing.
It's a showcase of that album.
I am not. It's like I love all the music in it. It's fantastic, but great. Where In Threes is just brilliant. It's them exploring more of their instruments and absolutely fantastic drumming, and it's just great. Okay, again, no lyrics. It doesn't need lyrics on that one, but it's just out the two tracks, In Threes is the better track. Simple as that, really. There is no where to go with it. I like the music in Dish Yourself 1989, but I've got the whole album for that. I don't need that. You know what I mean? So that's a very short one for me.
Yeah.
So right then. So let me plug that into the computer. Blip blop blip.
I'm sure I heard that on one of the Beasties tracks.
Oh, did you? They sampled it from me.
That was very 80s.
I still haven't received my royalty check for that one.
I think you know when they sent the I think the Voyager probe off and it had all sounds of the human race. Yeah. I think the Beastie Boys in 1989 tried to document every sound that they could find and put that in an album. So we should have just sent that up as hey, we've developed and this is now what the world sounds like. This has got everything in it.
This is mankind.
Yeah, with 3 guys going "Meh" on the front cover. So here we are at the end, the final 2 tracks. What have we got, Stu?
Track. Right then, so we got Bouillabaisse, A Year and a Day, and this is one we've sort of had to be really creative because there's a lot of these songs on Paul's Boutique, and I don't know why they've done it. I didn't research it properly. I'm sure there's some documentation out there, or our other hosts will probably educate me because I have no idea. And Namaste. So I'm going to go for the final time to MC Cath.
Right then. B-Boy Bouillabaisse. Synth screaming, 80s racer in my ride. Samples sizzling, beat pumping with the tide. Raps a mystery, lyrics lost in the haze. But arcade vibes got me stuck in a daze. 3 Mike D's, retro funk with digital chase.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
3 Mike D's.
I
3
really
Mike
enjoyed
D's.
that track. Namaste. Fades out smooth, a chilled vibe takes hold. Melodies float, textures unfold. New vocals, serene and kinda slow. Beasties ditch the raps, a different flow. Interesting turn, this ain't the norm. 3 Mike D's, a peaceful album and storm.
Oh, she's gone for a draw, sneakily disguised in a rap, so she hasn't actually picked the best of the 2. You're gonna watch,
And you've called her out.
Yeah, I've been.
I tell you, that's a rap battle and a half now. What's going on? What a diss?
Listen,
Diss Bacula?
I'm not getting another Popo diss track thrown my way.
So what is it then, DJ Cath? MC Cath, sorry.
I mean, I really enjoyed both of them, but I think because of the sort of the 80s sort of racer arcade samples, I think B-Boy Bouillabaisse has just got the extra edge. So I'll vote for that one.
Okay.
Oh, Simon Robbie.
Who's next,
Right.
Sue?
I'm going to go for Simon
Oh.
because I'd need to know what Robbie says. I just need to know.
I'm being full named as well on this last track. This feels like pressure.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
you are,
yeah.
aren't you?
Simon.
Listen,
Get some
we've
good
once
work.
again entered the headmaster study.
Yeah, I know, it's like-
Present.
I don't want to
That's
make the
right.
wrong choice now. B-Boy Bouillabaisse. When you consider all the elements of that, you have almost 30 samples, ranging from Johnny Cash, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, Run DMC, and of course, themselves. I mean, technically brilliant, but it's a hodgepodge of sounds and elements. And when you add it all together, we have an 11-minute track here. Live, probably absolutely amazing. To end an album, probably too long. I imagine when it was on vinyl or that, it wasn't 5 separate tracks. I think that's a Spotify thing. I think it might have been, like when we had the Green Day, where you had one title and then you had 3 subtitles. I think that's probably what you would have on the album.
No, it was. I had the vinyl and tape, and it was.
Yeah, it was like one.
Individual
It was
track. There were-
B-Boy
yeah, there was-
Bouillabaisse and
there's
then
individual
A,
tracks,
B,
yeah.
C, D,
Yeah,
E.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Spotify, being Spotify, likes to split these tracks up for some reason. I don't know why they do that, because it bleeds into each other as well when you listen to all of them. Namaste. I mean, to battle Bouillabaisse, you have a track that once again peeks into the Beasties as musicians. It's laid back, hallucinogenic, it's floating in the air, it's just a trip. You literally could be in a Dutch cafe enjoying a bong and a blintz or a schmuck and a pancake. With this in the background. They did almost finish on a fade, but then they realised Stu might be dissecting this many years later, so decided to play a few extra notes just to end it. So got to give them kudos for that. I mean, I think as a technical masterpiece to end an album, or indeed a playlist, then you need to pick B-Boy Bouillabaisse. But if you want a chilled out, relaxing end to recover from what you've just listened to, then you have to pick Namaste. I'm kind of feel like like Cath did.
What you want?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like the same as you did. It's like it's hard to make a choice between these two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Namaste for much the same reason I went for In Freeze. It's chilled, it's a nice ending, and it showcases something that's not readily acknowledged as what the Beasties are about.
Okay, Robbie, it's your time to shine. So.
Well, so let's enter the educational part of these two tracks. Do we know what the word Namaste means? No.
Hello or something?
It's Sanskrit for greetings to you. And it reflects a period in Adam Yorch's life where he'd started getting into yoga, basically, which wasn't popular in America at the time. But he traveled to places like India and Nepal and started coming up, getting far more interested in it. So Namaste was just a sort of reflection of the journey he was on at the time, which has got a pure lounge club vibe, I have to say.
Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love the music, but the spoken word bit actually annoys me. The words he's saying are cool, but the delivery of it, and I'm saying this 36 years later, it sounds pretentious looking back at the way. Now, at the time, it might have been really sort of cool and cutting edge, but I think since then I've heard that kind of thing so many times, it's a bit like, whatever. For me, Namaste, I thought the story behind the track was more interesting than the track itself. Although musically I liked it, I just thought that the lyrical delivery, although, trying something different, that's cool, not rapping, but yeah, didn't quite work for me.
So, Namaste is not Yamast Yay for you.
Oh, God. I mean, yeah, after all, that's just ruined all of your raps this evening.
All that work undone.
Yeah, that's like playing a gig, and then for the encore, you came on and did some sort of
the birdie song.
20-minute was a saxophone solo, basically.
With a fade out.
With a fade.
Though I did also note that Namaste didn't have a fade out. It nearly had one, but then it didn't, so we were safe. Now, do we know what a Bouillabaisse is?
It's a French soup or something.
It was originally a soup that fishermen made out of the fish, etc., that they couldn't sell at market, so they mixed them all together. So
all those samples they couldn't cram into the song. Yeah,
exactly. It's a potpourri of just ideas, basically. So it's basically it's a demo section, and there's some good ideas here. A Year and a Day and Hello Brooklyn from those. I don't know how many there were, but those are two of the titles. Hello Brooklyn with this mad throbbing bass stood out for me. And there's one called AYAAD, which is I presume Adam Yorch something, had some really good, like super duper fast rapping and a wicked kick drum pattern in the middle. When all the other instrumentation drops out, and it's just accentuated by this sort of rapid fire background scratching. So that was quite good. Thanks for the sound effect there, Cath. Excellent. However, someone on Reddit said about this selection of music, short songs. Oh, shall I do this as an Adam Buxton? Short songs nod to their hardcore roots, it could be argued, but the primary inspiration seems to be the medley portion of Abbey Road. Now, that's a bit of a stretch if you ask me, but a fine collection of demos and perhaps some things that they maybe did develop in later albums and some good ideas on some of these things and some hit and miss there. But I'm going to go for B-Boy Bouillabaisse because it had some more interesting selections, and Namaste just grated on me that little bit. So there we go.
Right, so Namaste, it's a bit boring. Really. To end, check your head. A really hard, awesome, fast-paced. I mean, it's okay. You need that, like, I need to just slow down, just have a fag and whatever. But no. That album doesn't need to slow down. That album needs to carry on and then make it just stop and go, and you'll go, oh, what was that? What happened? I need to listen to that again. and then you go right back in there. So, that's it, back in there. And Bouillabaisse is, I really like this for the collection of. You say demos, but I don't think they're demos. I just think it's a nice collection of tracks, all well thought out, and they all bleed into each other.
Ideas
and
that they couldn't utilize, I think, is more than demos.
Yeah, maybe, but I love the fact that you. But I love the fact that you brought up, Robbie, that you picked like two of my favorites as well. It's like A Year and a Day and Hello Brooklyn. I love the way Hello Brooklyn starts. It's just Ad-Rock going, it's just amazing. It's just incredible. And that they okay, I'm doing it again. I know. You know, and that bass is so good. That's ace. And they've all got really great ideas. But as Si's pointed out, you're not in trouble. It is over 11 minutes long in itself, and then compare it with Namaste, which is 3 minutes, is it, or 4 minutes?
Yeah, it's about that.
Yeah, it's a lot shorter. It's a bit of an unfair track, really, to have a battle against. But which ones do I prefer? See, I'm stuck now because I am sort of contradicting myself at the start where you're going, well, Namaste, it's a bit boring. Come on now.
I mean,
it's boring.
Bouillabaisse has got some really nice elements to it. Like the two bits that you mentioned there, it's like and as well, like that drum, like scratching of 59 Christie Street as well. I mean, the lyrics on that are awful on that element. But the actual backing is really nice. It's like, you can get behind it. I don't think there's a wrong choice here.
No, there isn't. Oh. But you know what? I've won by default on 4 tracks here. And if I do it on this one, I could win. I could win by default if I go for Namaste, or I could win out, or we could win out of Broadway if we go with Bouillabaisse. Oh, tune in next month, viewers, for what I've actually decided.
You've got to love a cliffhanger.
You got to after the length of this podcast, yes, you definitely need a podcast. Cliffhanger. Right. Oh, Bouillabaisse. Right, that's it. Done. Bouillabaisse. French. No, the fish soup. We're having it. Fish soup's having it, so I can't say the name properly. So the fish soup it is.
Right.
Oh my God.
Good choice.
Well done.
Now
well done.
That is actually that's a nice and balanced now with the album. I think they've a bit more love for Check Your Head, but I think Paul's Boutique has got some tracks on there which are
I think
well
people
deserved.
might be surprised by what they hear when they actually sit down and listen to the Beastie Boys instead of just listening to the Beastie Boys.
Yes. I mean, not as shocked as they will be when they listen to the Madonna playlist, but still shocked.
I'm shocked.
Right? The Madonna playlist, if you want to listen to the greatest hits, there's already an album of the greatest hits.
Yeah, but it's like the Queen one. We got Greatest Hits 1 and Greatest Hits 2.
So
we had to they had to, but you had to whittle them down, make better playlists.
Yes, you do have to whittle them down, and sometimes you've got to make controversial decisions.
Exactly, and then you've got people to listen to those controversial decisions, so they can go back to listen to those in the archive.
What a marvellous segue.
I know, it's like I get paid for this shit. So what's on this playlist?
Well, on the playlist for the Beastie Boys Smash Up album that we've recreated for your listening pleasure is Jimmy James, Shake Your Rump, Gratitude, Lighten Up, Finger Licking Good, So What You Want, Something's Got to Give, Hey Ladies, Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun, The Maestro, What Comes Around, Live at PJ's, Professor Booty, In Threes, and The Fish Soup.
And the fish soup.
That's the one, the Bouillabaisse.
Excellent.
And that playlist will be called
Paul's Head.
Not Paul's Head, that's the pub we're not going to. The playlist title is Check Your Boutique, and that can be found on Spotify by searching for the title of the playlist or searching for the Album Armageddon profile. Or alternatively, join in the Album Armageddon Facebook group, where you will find a pinned post right at the top that links directly to all of our playlists from the archive, as well as some other shenanigans going on with our ever-growing community and community manager Emma. The last thing we ask you to do is drop us a 5-star review on the platform you're listening to right now, as well as share the podcast and group on your social media platforms of choice. That just leaves us to put a bow on this episode to tell you that next month we're not really sure what we're doing. So watch this space and to say goodbye. So say goodbye, Cath.
Bye-bye, Cath.
Say goodbye, Stu.
See you later.
And say goodbye, Rob.
Goodbye, humans.
And until next time, see you all then.
Bye.
Bye.